For the same underwear, day after day after day.
More tips to make you a smarter traveler. Saturdays at 11 a.m. right here on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnoneauction.com. Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert, John Party, and more. Line dancing, live DJs, mechanical bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. It's the perfect Valentine's gift. Surprise them with live country music and dancing. Country in the Park, May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblit Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Center and Hilton Sacramento. For more info, visit CITPFest.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex decking and railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's Trex.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you. What's cracking? We're talking to Chad Hoblit of Hoblit Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram and Woodland. Chad, tell us what's happening for Ram Truck Month.
Well, there's no better time to get a Ram than Ram Truck Month. Right now, save up to $15,000 off MSRP on new 2026 Ram 1500 crew cabs. Or save big when you take advantage of the $7,000 Hoblit discount and get 0% financing for 60 months. You'll save thousands in finance charges on top of the huge Hoblit discount.
Yeah, I can't even believe 0% financing is an option at the moment.
It's not an easy thing to find nowadays, but we're always looking to help you save money. Plus, with over 400 new Rams available, you can save big on your perfect Ram. At Hoblit, we focus on you and helping you get the Ram you need.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HoblitDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblit, period.
15,000 total net savings on select new 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie after 8,000 factory rebates and 7,000 dealer discounts. Rebates may include 2,000 select inventory bonus cash on select inventory, 1,000 SFS bonus cash, must finance through Stellantis, 500 on the job upfit, must show eligible upfit. Private net savings, see dealer for details.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
This is the Drive, baby!
The Drive Guys, Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles. It's drive time with the Drive Guys.
Believe it or not, I think I actually have, Alan, Jay, dear listener, I think I have some good news for Kings fans. This is the best we could do. I think it is, especially for people who've been Kings fans for a long time. Believe it or not, it has to do with the All-Star weekend. And believe it or not, it has to do with the Celebrity All-Star game.
Okay, I thought it was going to be that they're not playing for a week.
Oh.
Is that not
that's maybe that's good news.
Okay.
Yeah, if that's your good news.
Yes, that's my good news.
That's
you don't have to watch this atrocity for a week.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Here, I'm gonna try. That's definitely good news, depending on how you look at it. But I'm gonna try with this. The Celebrity All-Star Game, I'm not sure who all is playing in it, and I typically do whatever I can to avoid it. Quite often we're doing a show and it's on, and I find myself like, But I just found out this afternoon, apologies to anyone who knew this before I did, Jay Will is supposed to play.
Okay.
Jason Williams is supposed to play. And not only is Jay Will supposed to play, he has an axe to grind. He's bringing a grudge into the game, which tells me he's going to play a little bit.
Okay. Well, this makes sense because did you see his, partnership with Nike got refreshed, and I saw a picture of his shoe, so it must be all in promotion for the game.
He is upset with a guy by the name, I want to make sure I get his name right, Rick Schnall. Okay. Rick Schnall is the owner of the Charlotte Hornets, and Jay Will has made it clear he's not shown up for a casual jog and a few laughs. His personal mission is to embarrass Charlotte owner Rick Schnall. Here's what happened. This is Jay Will on his pod. He says, my friend, he was talking to my friend Eric Church. Eric was trying to be friendly with him being Rick Schnall. Eric was trying to be friendly with him a little bit, like, I heard you were coaching my buddy. And he was like, no, I'm not coaching. I'm playing. I'm actually playing against him. Then Eric said, he's kind of quick, make him a jump shooter. And that old bleep Rick said, I know he's old too. Which doesn't sound that bad, right?
Right.
But Jay Will didn't appreciate that. He said, I got something for his B blank, A blank. I don't even care if I score. If he checks in, I check in. I'm not even asking the coach. It's either getting between his legs or on his head, shorts getting pulled down, or all of the above. I wish I knew where you stayed because I'll come visit you before that. Jay Will.
And he's dead serious.
Sounds like it. Did not appreciate that Rick Schnall said, I know he's old.
Wow. So we got real beef for this.
So we may get a chance to see a little bit of vintage Jason Williams.
Okay, because I know the Celebrity All-Star Game, it can get a little squirrely. Of course, the older we get, I don't know this person or that person, but Jay Will is playing. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing. So there's a couple names that should be familiar to people.
Remember when every year, Kevin Hart's the MVP.
Every year.
Yeah.
I'm so glad
and he didn't
that's
do
over.
anything. And it's
No.
like, that's not funny.
Hey, hell, they took the ball. I got the ball. Now I shot the ball. I missed the ball. Okay, man, we get it. Actually, funny enough, they couldn't have him in the celebrity. I just remembered this, Whitey. They couldn't have him in the Celebrity All-Star Game last season because they did that bizarre thing where he was pseudo-emceeing and he wasn't really emceeing. He was just hopping in, and it was very forced and very random. So I don't know. I know they have 200 content creators that they're going to allow to broadcast and live stream. So I don't know that they're doing the, hey, Kevin Hart, come in here and do your same jokes that you've been doing forever. I don't know that they're doing that. This year, it's 200 content creators. It's like Willy Wonka. You get an invite from the NBA to come on down to L.A. And, apparently it seems like the celebrity game is maybe a little bit more well-known than maybe in years past.
Well, I know I've told you, Alan, that I actually had the privilege of, or the embarrassment or whatever, the humiliation of playing pickup with Jay Will once, and I'll never forget it, but he did one of those things to me. The good news for Rick Schnall is that if Jay Will does something to him, he won't know what it was. He won't see it.
Right.
It'll be so quick.
Yeah.
What'd he do? I don't know, because that's the way I am.
That's right.
Not that he wanted to embarrass me, but he did something, scored on me, and to this day, I don't know what he did. When I asked him, he said, man, I don't know. So anyway, we've got that going. Now, before we get to the Kings and last night, how do you feel about all of the content creators being invited to All-Star Weekend? Because, the old media, that'd be me, and I don't really care, but a lot of the old media is like, well, those people don't belong there. We're trying to do our jobs.
Yeah.
And the league is just trying to get some attention.
Well, I think it's not only that. I mean, what I saw, there's so many platforms these days that it's hard to keep up on what's technically reputable and what isn't, because I think there are a lot of media members that are also just kind of salty.
By the way,
you know what I mean?
Raider Ted says, watch out, speed at the plate.
I saw. Thank you, Raider Ted. I am back sprinting again. It feels
Did you ever hear that story, Jay? We were just telling the story. It's my favorite Allen baseball story. And I know you were talking there.
Yes.
I apologize. Allen says when he played baseball, just about every level, right?
Every level.
When he came up and he let off a lot, he said no matter what the situation, the other infielder's like, okay, watch out.
Yeah.
Fast, speedy.
Hey, got speed here, Jay. Jay, I know you know what I'm talking.
Reading the book by the cover, judging the book by its cover.
Hey, watch the bun
Been
here.
there, done that. And you're a lefty, too?
And I'm left. The coach points to the third baseman. Hey, Jimmy. Couple steps in here. Watch the bunt.
I know you got it.
Watch the bunt, man. Every time.
Until you spray some things, and then it's like, everywhere. He's everywhere.
Exactly. Hey, no doubles. No doubles. Whitey loves that story. But I think there are a lot of people that, depending on what platform they write on or whatever, they're not getting to go. So that's what I saw. Media members that aren't at the biggest platforms, they're getting told no, but they are legit journalists. And then you have content creators that are just getting invited because the NBA is very social media focused. So I don't have a problem with it. I know.
I don't really either.
Yeah, we didn't put our name in the hat to get down there, but I got to go last season when it was in SF because it was kind of easy access. But I can see why other media members might be annoyed. I think the other piece of this, though, is that I don't think fans care. But before I say that, I always feel very old when it got to a point. It started with, the kid Speed and the other kid Kai Cenat, where you would see Bleacher Report posts about them, and I would run to the comments because I'm thinking everybody else is going to say, well, who the hell is this? I ran to the comments, this is a couple years ago, and everybody knew who they were. More and more people. I'm thinking, oh, I guess I'm out of the loop here. Yeah. So out of those 200 content creators, I don't know, maybe our demographic might say, I don't care about them or what it is, but I think we're not the demo that the NBA is trying to kind of bring in. I think it's the younger demo.
Yeah, you may have been a speed demon when you played, but it took you a while to get up to speed when it came to recognize the influence of some of these.
Let me ask you, because I haven't seen this, and maybe I just been off the radar. If I'm hearing you correctly, they are denying certified media credentials.
I don't know.
Established media? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a matter of denying. I think it's
like 200, I think,
yeah,
influencers
200 spots are going to content creators, which might be in a different bucket. I'm just saying from what I've seen on social media, it might be indirectly affecting other people's ability to get credentials.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, Jay. I'm not certain that's what it amounts to.
These are not your ESPNs. You know what I mean?
These are
not that. These are smaller,
Locked On, Believe Network type.
Type of deals.
Yeah,
yes.
Because I'm like, wait a minute. Are you telling me someone who writes for, the Cleveland Times or
right? No,
they're getting denied. Okay,
they're in. I think it's those that are. Yeah, I think honestly, a lot of these leagues don't know what to do with all these platforms.
True.
And where they kind of fall, like the chat sports of the world, and they don't necessarily write articles, but they're kind of doing the content creation
clutch
thing.
points.
Here's something from Total Pro Sports. According to Variety, the NBA is planning to invite more than 200 influencers to All-Star Weekend. Their role will be to generate digital content across live broadcasts, arena entertainment, competitions, and interactive fan events to connect with younger audiences and expand the league's online presence.
See,
how that impacts traditional media, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would say, I think just the way it's said right there, and I could be reading into it completely wrong. I think they're trying to drum up more interests. And for me, and I've talked to a few people behind closed doors over the last couple of weeks, and I have heard that the NBA is a little worried that with the Super Bowl being so close and so crunched together, that people will have a hangover from coming in because it's in San Francisco and straight to LA. Like, people are like, well, we spent our budget on the Super Bowl and we're not sending our guys over to the NBA All-Star Weekend extravaganza. Mm-hmm. So I could see that being an issue. But I think, if I'm hearing it correctly, it's on top of. It's the sugar on top. It's the cherry. It's the sprinkles. It's the Kai Cenat. It's the Drewskis. It's the iSpeeds. It's the, so on and so forth. Let me get the Ha-Ha Davises of the world. And because you have the numbers, we're going to put you in the catbird seat for you to bring some eyes to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's all about now.
Global creators. Global creators.
I'm still looking for my invite.
More than 200 global creators to be featured at the All-Star Game.
You ain't on that level yet, brother.
I got to check.
Getting there.
The way the Wi-Fi works, I don't. I'll refresh it again. I'll refresh it again.
When you're talking about global numbers, boy, there are some people, and I'm with you, Alan. I am out of the demographic of the iSpeeds of the world, the Kai Cenats. I don't get the Drewskis of the world anymore, but I understand it. I understand why they're winning. I understand that they're just hitting folks across the head every single minute,
right?
With a little bit of everything. And I can understand why the NBA is trying to play in that pool. Because right now, fellas, think about it. Podcasting, organic media, terrestrial radio, all these different things, we're all fighting for pennies at this point.
Here, I think, is an example of some of the names we're talking about. According to NBA.com, world-renowned NBA shooting guru
Lethal Shooter
will serve as one of the coaches for the celebrity game.
Real fast, Alan, before you talk, why isn't his ass in the three-point competition?
That's true. That's true. I was going to say, whoever needs to get down there with, DC, Devin Carter, we just talked about, they need to hang out.
Yeah.
They all need to hang out together. Him, Dylan Cardwell, they need to be in LA.
Let's see here. Cody Jones, Dude Perfect co-founder, Basketball content creator Jenna Bandy will play in the game. NBA ID member ambassadors Drewski.
There you go.
Leapless Shooter and Dude Perfect co-founder Tyler Toney will be assigned roles via fan voting for All-Star Saturday. And rapper-creator Harry Mack will perform an in-arena freestyle during Sunday's All-Star game.
No clue who that is. H-Mac.
I do have a question, and we can also liken this to our jobs, right? Obviously, digital is real now. Social, digital, it's all real. Back in the day, it was all about ratings. Now, your digital numbers matter. I wonder, the NBA doing something like this, we already know the NBA kind of owns the social media world, but the NBA doing something like this, does that tell you that they're hoping that the fans that these content creators bring in then translate to watching, one of the 82 games? Or are we seeing the NBA maybe not change their model, but add to their model where they want to lean into the social aspect? And we might never get the NFL in traditional ratings, but we bleep them up when it comes to the digital presence. Because I feel like it might be the latter. I don't think they believe that 14-year-old Johnny is going to go through the flow, and because Drewski was talking with Russell Westbrook, he's going to be a Kings fan now. But he might follow Russ on social media. That's what I think they're doing.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they're getting ahead of the curve. I know to some it reeks of desperation, but what's it hurt?
I guess it just helps to be able to say you're number one in something, because they're not ever going to beat the NFL in viewing ratings as a traditional sense.
Did you view, speaking of viewing numbers and things, did you view the Kings and the Jazz last night?
It was on. It was. They got the ratings. It was on. Mm-hmm. But, I'm sitting there and I'm doing different things. And Whitey, it's funny because I'll admit it, I thought that the Jazz were going to lose, because I thought the Kings would keep it close enough. I know the Kings were missing a bunch of players, but the Jazz were going to do the tank thing, and the Kings were going to sneak out a win because DeMar threw the water bottle. I don't know. It was clearly a dumb take. And how fast it got out of hand in the first quarter was so impressive to me. I mean, this is something that we've never seen before. I know tank, no tank. This is bad. There's no other way to spin it. This is bad. From a culture standpoint, everybody's talking about the tanking these days. You got some young guys that, you want to work with, but this is bad, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you create the culture you're trying to create and avoid all the losses piling up, impacting that effort.
The culture's on hold. The culture, to me, is on hold until this season is just over. Not to say they won't lose next season, but the weirdness of, if you're just they lost organically to start the season. Now we're seeing some riffraff a little bit, and it is what it is. Next season, even if they lose a lot of games, I still feel like they will be building a culture, and I'm assuming based on how the roster looks, and it'll be very clear what they are doing. But right now, the culture is on hold.
Nate Duncan, who does a lot of NBA stuff online, he suggested that the back-to-back losses for the Kings, the two games they just lost, may be the worst losses back-to-back in NBA history, because they lost to teams in Washington and Utah that were not trying to win, and they lost by a large margin. To me, they're not anywhere near the worst losses, because we know the Kings weren't really trying to win. And I'm not offended by that or anything. I'm not trying to stick out for the Kings, but to me, it's no. To me, the loss last year to Washington when they needed to win and Washington didn't want to win and the Kings still lost, to me, that was way worse. Yes. That said, I do think right now it gets really hard to evaluate anything, as a fan certainly, but more importantly, as anybody, Scott Perry or anybody in basketball ops, how do you evaluate anything right now with the way this team is almost by design coming apart at the seams?
You can't. It's all on hold. The whole thing is paused. The game is on pause until next season, and then you'll unpause it. And, I know Jason Anderson was on earlier and talked about, DeMar DeRozan's not looking for a buyout. The FanDuel show, the Run It Back pod, they're talking about get Russell Westbrook out of there. Neither of those guys seem to be in a hurry to move out of there for whatever reason. We'll talk about it later in the show. But I don't know. Can somebody explain to me at this point in time the way this team is losing, what Westbrook and DeRozan are showing the rookies at this point in time. Not to say throughout the season they didn't learn a lot. I'm asking right now throughout this.
I think I can answer that.
Okay.
And I'm not saying, it's great that they're here. I'm not saying that.
I'm not trying to get them out of town. I'm just saying.
I understand. It's a fair question.
What does the team learn? It's more about dang near not about the games anymore.
Yeah. To me, and I know it's a terrible situation. Again, I'm not trying to say, no, this is great. But to me, if you have DeMar DeRozan doing what I'm sure DeMar DeRozan is doing in the face of this, all of this that's going on, there is a lesson there about being professional come hell or high water. I don't know the value of it, and I'm not saying it's by design. I'm not saying, this is brilliant that they're doing this.
Yeah.
But if you're a young player and you see DeMar and you see what he's going through, but you see that he prepares every night and gives the same amount of effort every night, I think there's potentially something of value there.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to.
I think it's a great question.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny what you're saying. To me, my whole point of the question was just because they've been there all season.
I get it.
So,
yeah.
and I'm not saying that they need to go or anything else. It's just a weird situation that we're in right now. And if you're Scott Perry, I don't know. It feels as if even when he spoke, what was that, last week or the week prior, it feels like.
I think it'll be a week tomorrow.
Yeah,
a week, I think.
It feels like even then there was more talk about the future than what we're building right now, because it's hard to say that when we all know what we're watching. We all know part of the reason why we're watching it, and it is what it is. But, the same way we haven't heard Doug talk about the pride and the jerseys, this is now a learning experience. And, DeMar and Westbrook want to be a part of that learning experience, so it is what it is.
Yeah, speaking of, I want to take this opportunity to stick up for Coach Christie a little bit, because, again, how do you evaluate anything? How do you evaluate his coaching? But that said, I know there's been a lot of talk in the media this week about, I don't know about Doug's future. I mean, that's fair enough, but I don't think his fortune should be dictated by the fact that they've lost all these games when that's what, as an organization, they want to do. I do think, as we said last week, Scott Perry, I think he could have said some more supportive things of his coach. That definitely caught my ear. Yeah. But as far as, 14 straight, well, it must be the coach. To me, that just does not compute.
I'm not necessarily going to say this in a way that is an endorsement of Doug Christie per se, but where we're at right now on a 2-year deal, the fact that we're not sure if some of these vets are going to be able to be moved, to be honest with you, if you are Scott Perry, do you really want another coach coming into this, right? If they had moved, I would say Doug would be in a scarier spot. And from what we're hearing, it does sound like it's getting, I don't know if it's actually getting scarier.
Well, that's a good point. It seem like the narrative is starting to lean that way. I'm just not sure why.
Because we're talking historic runs. I think that's why.
Yeah, and also because of Scott Perry and what he said last week.
But if you still have vets on this team, if you can't move on from DeMar, if you can't move on from Sabonis, and obviously you still have Zach LaVine, it's not a matter of, he's already here, finders keepers. But I just don't know why, whether they believe in Doug or not, why you would bring a new coach into that. We've talked about the Mark Daigneault situation. And the reason I bring that up is because if you did move on from, and I don't know if you can time it out like this, right? But if you did move on from Sabonis and you did move on from DeRozan, and let's say it's just LaVine, the young guys, and you get a top pick, I could see in that situation, this feels like the deck is cleared enough to bring in a new guy to start the flip over. But if they're not able to move on from some of these vets and there's still some of this leftover dinner, if you will, I don't see them putting another coach in this situation, which sounds kind of messed up as far as Doug is concerned. I just think it's the truth.
Yeah. Daigneault's a good example, again, of a guy who coached the team through the lean years, and they stuck with him. And they won a freaking championship.
Right.
I remember seeing when they were, going through the tanking, winning 20 games a year, whatever it was, for a couple of years there. I remember watching them and thinking, boy, that poor guy.
Yeah.
Sacrificial lamb right there.
Well, yes. But the thing was, they brought him in after the SGA trade, and they had gutted the Paul George and all that. So it was bad. And this is kind of where Jordy is a little bit. And a lot of times that coach does get fired. Doug is just in a very unique spot where, again, it hasn't started yet. We talked about the Caterpillar coach. I don't even know if the Kings are a Caterpillar yet, to be completely honest with you. I mean, the Nets are. The Hornets are always a Caterpillar. The Wizards were, and now we'll see next season. The Jazz, another good example with Will Hardy. They gave him that extension last season, so they believe they're doing the Mark Daigneault thing with him, but then they go out and they go get Jaren Jackson Jr., and next season, his clock actually starts. You can almost look at it like college, right? When you bring in, when my recruiting classes get in, that's when my clock starts. For Doug, I don't know if they're going to let his recruiting classes come in.
One of the things that works against him in terms of perception, and hopefully I think the front office is, clearly they're smart enough to know that fan perception doesn't necessarily matter. But I heard the morning show today, they're talking about Jordy. Jordy already had something of a coaching pedigree before he got to Brooklyn. I know he wasn't a head coach, but he was established as, that guy's a good coach. Coach Christie just hasn't had that opportunity. He doesn't have a coaching pedigree, so it's easy for people to assume, he's a coach in the team now, and they're not very good. Well, man, he must be terrible. And again, this year, given the way things are coming apart, I really don't think we can tell.
Yeah, and I don't know. Look, I am not comparing Doug to this person at all because Doug obviously has more experience than him. But do you remember, this is what happens when you're a Raider fan. Do you remember one of the worst losses ever when the Raiders lost to the Colts when Jeff Saturday was the coach for like a week? And he had no business being a coach. I can't remember who it was, but it was an older quarterback running all over the place. I think it was Matt Ryan or something crazy like that. It was embarrassing. But clearly Jeff Saturday was not ready to be an NFL coach. And once the Colts moved on, there was nobody out there. It kind of messed up his track, right? Because now where do I go? Do I go back to be a whatever? He's just on TV, which is a great deal. But in Doug's situation, and I think we've talked about this off air, his track and his path now is in a very interesting spot because when you get your dream job, but maybe you get your dream job a little too soon and you're never going to say no to something like that, where do you go next? And maybe he won't have to go anywhere. Maybe they'll let him coach the Caterpillar and he'll get that third option and they like where this is going. But if not, it's not the same, to your point, as somebody that's kind of been around a bunch of different teams. And he'd have to not start from scratch, but he'd have to kind of start from scratch somewhere else.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We'll come back. We'll get to the phones. Also, tanking is smart, but it still stinks. Is there anything, honestly, the NBA can do about it? There are a couple things. Does the league have the guts to do them? We'll get into that when we come back to Sacktown Sports with the Drive Guys.
Download the Sacktown Sports app.
Sacramento sports in your pocket. This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnunoauction.com.
Join Sacktown Sports Downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In Shape Fitness Kings Rally Towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting sacktownsports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Trust. It's the foundation of every business. With Better Business Bureau, you connect to a network of trusted partners who help you grow and improve your visibility. BBB accreditation signals to your customers that you value honesty and reliability. Show your commitment to integrity and excellence. Join a community that's dedicated to helping businesses thrive. Take the next step for your business. Join today. Visit bbb.org and discover how Better Business Bureau can help your business thrive.
Tune in every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the Toyota Tahoe Report with Johnny Mosley and me, Elena, bringing you the latest weather conditions up at Tahoe. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Download the app and listen to The Drive Guys.
The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
On Sacktown Sports 1140.
We'll get to the phones in just a moment here, Alan. If you will allow it, and even if you don't, I'm still going to do it. I have to get something on my chest here. I found myself last night watching the Warriors and the Spurs. Found myself missing De'Aaron Fox, and I really haven't felt like that since he left.
Really?
Yeah. He
What
had a good
was
game.
it? Yeah, what was just how he was playing?
One of his drives to the basket. And, he gets that look in his eye when he plays the Warriors, and it just brought back some, and I really have been good with it the whole time. I know, intellectually I look at it and go, yeah, well, they probably could have gotten more, but I hadn't really felt it emotionally then even when he came back to Sacramento. But then last night watching, I was like, oh, boy.
Yeah, when he refused to let Draymond, and that's when it was, I know we went back and forth a lot about whether it was a rivalry or not. I think rivalries can cool off. There's historic rivalries, and then there's rivalries that can heat up and cool off. And obviously that one heated up for a little bit, and it's obviously cooled off. But the fact that he wouldn't let Draymond help him up when he fell over.
Yes.
That was,
yes.
It was almost nostalgic.
Uh-huh.
It was almost nostalgic. Man, those were the good old days,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
almost forgot that he was a Spur for a second. No, I hear you on that. And
That's
they look
a good team.
Yeah, they look good. They're the sexy team now, but I don't even know if they're the sexy team because they were always going to be good this season. It's just really starting to hit their stride. And I'll tell you what about the Thunder. I don't know what's going on, but Jalen Williams, I'm not going to say he's injury prone, but every time I look, the brother is on the bench. So I don't know what's going on with the Thunder. They're still obviously rocking and rolling. They're still the number one seed. But, yeah, the Spurs, they do look like the team. As they say, Whitey, it's hard to stay hungry when you're well-fed. And I know it's only one championship for the Thunder, but that championship can go a long way. And the way Jalen Williams was talking, I've been to the finals, brother. When somebody asked him about the Christmas game, playing on this stage, he says, brother, I've been to the finals. And, it kind of maybe is getting to their head a little bit. Not Shea, but maybe some of the other guys. And the Spurs and Wemby, they're hungry. They're not messing around.
Speaking of Spurs, I know yesterday about this time we were talking a lot about Jeremy Sohan. Oh, Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah, why are you ruining my
Went through
day
waivers.
like
somebody picked him up. The Knicks have picked him up, Al.
At least he went to Mike. At least he went to Mike Brown.
I knew the Kings would have no chance unless they claimed him off waivers and picked up his salary, which they were not able to do.
So is it worth going through the flow the way that it was explained? Obviously, it's based on your position, right? So if the Kings had an opportunity first because they're the worst team, it means that he got pretty far down before the Knicks picked him up.
I think he got all the way through.
He got all the way through. And
I believe so.
And then signed
and then it
to
was
the
like,
Knicks.
okay, what are we going to do? And then he could entertain offers from,
okay.
I believe I saw there were as many as was it 10 teams interested?
I tried to. See, you and Jay.
I didn't want to trade for him.
You and Jay.
I did not want to trade for him.
10 teams looking for my guy.
As a free agent, yeah.
His hair is probably orange right now. Could have been purple, people.
Right. Yeah.
Could
it's
have
a
been
whole
purple.
different equation, Alan.
Come on,
A
man.
whole different set of circumstances. Do you want to trade for him? No. He's a free agent. You want to sign him? Yeah.
No, I'll trade him. I'll trade a second for him. You want to know why? Because he's probably younger than whatever second round pick the Kings are going to take next season anyway.
Uh-huh.
So I would have traded for him. Now he's out there in the Big Apple with his orange hair.
And that was an expiring too, right? So 339, yeah. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Joey has been hanging on. Hey, Joey, you're on with the Drive Guys. What's up?
Hey, what's happening? Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hey, I have a question for you guys, and I want your guys' opinion. Like, how does the conversation go to a team that wants to tank? Like, what do you tell them? Hey, I want you guys to go 3/4 speed. You're going to fake an injury. I mean, how does that go?
It's a good question, Joey. I can't say for a fact. I'm trying to think if I've ever heard anybody, people don't talk about that publicly, but obviously, again, tanking is not something the players do. It's something the front office does and the coaches, where no one says, hey, you guys don't try. Right. It's just a matter of, hey, you're not playing tonight.
Well, yeah, I think there are a couple versions of it, and we're seeing a more unique version this season because more teams are in on it. I think in the past, the Jazz are probably not sitting Jaren Jackson and doing things like that, and the Wizards with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. So the two versions that we're seeing now, your team either just stinks and you don't have to tell them anything. That's the Nets, the Kings, teams like that. Then you have teams that do have, I guess, vets or guys that you care about in some capacity, and those are the guys where you have to talk to them. So actually, Whitey, there's more like 3.
Yeah. Look out there, Joey. Hope Joey's okay.
Sorry, Joey.
Yeah.
There's really 3 because you have you just stink, let's call them the Nets, right? Just all young guys. We'll call it like that.
Yeah,
right?
but never is a coach going to tell a player, hey, tonight.
No, you don't have to for that team, though, because that team is just not good yet, right? Then you have the team with this is the kind of new hybrid that we're seeing. It's the Jazz and the Wizards. We have some good guys, but this season's already cooked, so we don't want anybody to get injured or anything like that. So that conversation might happen where it's, hey, guys, we know what this is. We're focused on next season. Let's not push it. Get acclimated.
Just so you know, we're playing the younger guys a lot more.
Yes. The third one is similar to the one I just mentioned, but that's where the Kings are at, and they got vets that aren't a part of their future, and they know that, and they try to move them so that, and you have Sabonis, who is somebody they're trying to move. They're trying to move these guys, so it kind of behooves both sides to make sure that you're healthy going into the offseason. So we've never really seen 3 versions before.
Yeah.
And this season, that's what we're seeing.
I think there is a recent example in football, and it's your team, the Raiders, where they told Max Crosby he wasn't going to play the last game of the year, and he just didn't appreciate that.
Yeah.
But you never can tell a player, don't play hard tonight. We don't want your best. You just can't do that.
Right. Well, that's why they just sat him.
Yeah.
And that ticked him off, too, and it might mark the end of his time in Vegas. And, to be honest with you, those timelines don't really match up anyway. So as much as I love Max Crosby on the football field and what he can do, it probably also is in the Raiders' best interest to see what else is out there anyway.
Yeah, but I think it's an important point. Joey, thanks for giving us a chance to go back over this. I know sometimes there are players in pro sports, they may not give their all, but as far as tanking, that's something that an organization does, not something that players do.
I don't, and to that point, I don't think there is a conversation from the GM to the coach with the players. Your team either just stinks either way. The conversation is between the GM and the coach. Hey, if this thing gets too squirrely, pull out Jaren Jackson. If this thing gets too squirrely, if you're the Wizards.
By the way, Jaren Jackson is in something of a controversy because apparently after he got traded to the Jazz, they found that he has a tumor.
Yes, benign.
Benign, but
Yes.
a tumor. So they decided, all right, he's going to have that removed. And, of course, some fans are saying, oh, well, that's a fake. It's all for tanking. And then friend of the show, Keith Smith, is saying, he has a tumor that is growing. You can't blame someone for wanting that removed.
Yes. I got to be real careful here, but I think what's squirrely about it is when it comes to going back to the Mark Williams deal that got reversed, the Jazz obviously felt like this was something that they could overcome. And I think where people are getting a little frisky with it is you knew that you don't necessarily think it's going to affect Jaren Jackson, and you're kind of using it to shut him down, which is just very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But
my understanding, I saw somewhere, but I know there are at least some medical professionals that say, yes, that should be removed. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm good with that.
Oh, yeah. I know that. And he probably still gets removed if he's on the Grizzlies. But I think if you knew, it's almost a good faith conversation where it's the same thing with Anthony Davis in a different way, where you're trading for him knowing that he can't mess up your tank right now. And that's what people are getting upset about. But obviously, if we're talking about tumors, it's all health first.
And as you said, it's benign.
Yes.
Rick has been hanging on. Hey, Rick, what's up? You're on the drive, guys. How are you?
Hey, guys. As a Kings fan, I think one of the frustrating things right now is the fact or the appearance that nobody really has a role on the team, except for maybe Russell Westbrook, whose only role seems to be just go out and play. And what's frustrating as a fan is to see Sabonis. He's the only one kind of left from a couple years ago that was effective, and he seems to be kind of thrown under the bus and not appreciated anymore. Period. And at this point, we could blame Doug, but we don't know what goes on between Scott Perry and Doug, but it just doesn't seem like they're building towards anything at this point. And I do have to hand it to the fan loyalty and to the professionalism of the athletes, but I'm curious how you guys would answer this. What is the strong point of the Kings at this point? And thank you, guys.
Thank you, Rick. You can tackle that one, Alan Stiles. The strength of this Kings team right now.
The strength of this Kings team is the young guys just in general, right? I mean, if you're looking for who they are as a team, I think that's tough, Rick, because I don't know if they're still trying to figure that out.
As an organization, the strength is they have a lot of draft picks. They don't have a ton like Memphis or OKC, but they have a lot of first-round picks.
They have their own.
Yeah, that's more like assets. In terms of the strength of this roster, there aren't a lot of strengths to this roster. That's why they're 12-44.
No, I
mean,
mean,
just in a matter, and they're just rearranging things and taking stock of things. It's not an excuse. It's just not a really good team.
Yeah. If we did it like this, scouting report, you're about to face the Kings. That's what you would discuss, right? All right, this is what we got to worry about when we face the Kings.
Don't let Russ get to the basket. That'd be one thing. You just got to, he'll take it, coast to coast. So you gotta prevent him. If I'm trying to beat him, I'd also say we're going to play a lot of zone because we want them to shoot from the outside as much as possible. They can't shoot.
Yeah, and I would say, I don't know if this is a strength, but
7 for 33 last night after, what were they the game before?
It was 13%.
Yeah,
They're 4 for 31, I believe.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. I think this is just one player, but I would still say DeMar is an elite scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guys, don't let DeMar beat us. If he gets hot, doing what he does in that second quarter, send a double and make him pass out. And that's what they've done. And teams have been successful. We've seen that with the games that have been competitive when DeMar was, maybe more focused on scoring, maybe pre-deadline, things like that. That second half comes out, hey, let's just send a double at DeMar. Great job of passing out, but he's passing out to non-shooters.
Yeah, they have a lot of guards, but the guards are really erratic right now. Some of that's because of youth. Some of it's because we're not sure how good they're going to be. They all of a sudden, that's one thing they have accomplished this year. And I'm not trying to make excuses because they are every bit of 12-44. They do have more going on in the front court than they did before the season started.
Yeah.
Other than Domas.
Right.
I mean, Dylan Cardwell is like, whoa, he can do some things. He's an NBA player.
Yeah. And that's why it's just very important that they try their best to move Sabonis. Because I do think that going into next season, if you're running Maxime, and a lot of people want to see Dylan start over Maxime, by the way, but you got Maxime and Dylan, you got Hunter, you got Keegan, you have Neek, you have whatever draft pick you get. Obviously that team is not going to win a ton of games, but they're not really supposed to. But you're moving in a certain direction. Because when I was watching yesterday, and everybody likes to get on Keegan because he hasn't shot the ball well, but I was watching yesterday thinking they don't have a guy that just runs around screen. Like they have Doug McDermott, but Doug McDermott 10 years ago. Like they don't have a Corey Kispert or, one of those shooters, Luke Kennard. They don't have that, which is a huge issue. And I don't know, when I said that on social media, people said, well, they have Zach LaVine. I'm not really thinking about Zach LaVine like that. He's supposed to be a real deal scorer. I'm thinking just an escape valve specialist that can open things up. And I think they really need to find that. Could be Dalton Connect or could be a younger guy, but you need somebody that just opens things up for them.
Yeah, the NBA could fix tanking if they wanted to. Do they dare do it? We'll tell you the solution when we come back to Sacktown Sports.
Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at sacktownsports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to A to Z Savings, our biggest sale of the year.
Happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with Duralast rotors.
Free. Really?
Really? Free.
I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah. How much is that?
Free with the oil.
Free. Really?
Really. Free. It's part of A to Z Savings with hundreds of deals.
From A to free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ends March 9th. Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnoneauction.com. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jeff's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination, where Sammy, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge. And Sammy does that for free too. In no time at all, Jeff is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open and happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
What if the greatest player on the court wasn't who you expected? This February, experience heart, hustle, and a whole new kind of hero in Sony's GOAT, the animated sports adventure for the whole family. Only in theaters February 13th, rated PG.
The President's Day Sell-a-thon is on at Folsom Lake Ford. And with your approved credit, get 0 down, no finance rates, plus huge factory incentives on select new Fords. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford. Tell them Coach Christie sent you. See dealer for details.
The Sacramento Kings are bringing fans one of the best ticket deals of the season. Now through February 16th, get tickets to any Kings game with no fees. Catch must-see matchups against the Warriors, Spurs, Bulls, and more, plus fun theme nights like Girls Night Out, Y2K Night, and Slamson's birthday. And you won't want to miss your chance to see your favorite Kings players take the court, like exciting rookies Maxime Reynaud and Neat Clifford. Head to kings.com/no fees today and grab tickets to any game with no added fees.
The Drive Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sacktown Sports.
I'm not sure what I'm more sick of right now, Alan, as an NBA fan, as a longtime NBA fan. Tanking or people complaining about tanking? Because I'm sick of both of them right now.
Yeah.
And as you talked about this, with the trade deadline having come and gone, I get the sense that there was this vacuum of, what are we going to talk about in the NBA right now? Oh, tanking, it's terrible. And so a lot of people talking about that. I'm curious to see how much the league talks about it at the All-Star weekend because, you don't want to draw attention to it necessarily. You don't want to, I wouldn't think, as commissioner of the NBA, draw attention to the fact that a third of our league isn't trying. So if they do go there, my guess is it's because they'd rather talk about that than some of the other things going on.
Yeah, I mean, take your pick or pick your poison. I think where I'm starting to see this thing go, and Mike Malone was on Scott Van Pelt last night, and I think where this thing might start to sway a little bit is this is an extreme year. I think that's what's going to be the move if I were Adam Silver.
I can almost hear him saying that. As
you guys know, this is a very historic draft, so a lot of teams, we're doing whatever we can, to kind of put this thing in a better place, but this also seems to be an extreme case because of how talented this draft class is, and we don't really anticipate this to be this level of an issue moving forward.
Yeah, I don't blame the teams. I understand it. But last night, as a basketball fan, it's like, man, this is a rough watch. It's the system, not the teams. The teams, they're smart to do it this way. It would be foolish not to tank in many cases, in most cases. But if the league ever really wanted to do something about it, there's three things I think they could do. I'm sure you've thought of these. What do you think? One would be stripping teams of picks for tanking. You could do that. It would be really messy because everybody tanks, and then it would come down to, well, if you get away with it or not.
Right.
It would be a deterrent. I don't think it would work. I don't think it's feasible, but it's something you could do. Like, you're clearly tanking for draft picks. We strip you of your draft pick. We're bringing the hammer down. Bobby Marks talked about the hammer. To me, if there's a hammer, that's it.
Yeah, that's so messy, though.
I agree.
Because even if you do it one time, right? Because think about it like this. If you flipped it and the Kings had a really tough end of their schedule, they probably wouldn't feel like they had to do things like what they did last night.
Yeah.
When they play the Jazz or the Pelicans, they're thinking, we might mess around and win this game. So that's dicey.
It is. And I think before you could do that, you would have to really spell out the rules. Because right now, like the Jazz, everyone says, oh my goodness, blatant tanking. But they are following the rules. So I don't think that's practical. It is one thing they could do. Second would be either get rid of the draft or completely, and I know you read something about that, or you go to the wheel system. As long as teams are rewarded for losses, as long as more losses means you have some advantage, whatever it is, teams are going to tank.
Yeah.
And maybe in the past it hasn't been as drastic. Maybe, like you say, future drafts it won't be as drastic because the drafts won't be as promising. But if any team, if there's a benefit to losing more games, teams are going to tank.
Right.
So if you either get rid of the draft, there's no upside to losing. Or if you go to are you ready for it, Alan? The wheel.
The wheel.
Are you ready for the wheel?
I'm ready.
The wheel, and this is actually something that the NBA first was talking about like in 2014. I have an article here from Grantland. Zach Lowe wrote something in 2013 or 14 about somebody in the NBA coming up with this proposal for the wheel. Long story short, not to get bogged down in the details, devil's in the details, but just for the sake of this conversation, the wheel would be every year a different team gets the first pick.
Right.
It's predetermined.
Yes.
So, and I know there's some downside with that, but the bottom line would be you can lose if you want. You don't gain anything. It doesn't improve your chances of getting the first pick. I think if you did that, just think teams that were kind of on the bubble, like, oh, we could compete for the play-in, but maybe we're better off losing games. If you didn't have any upside to losing games, those teams would be compelled to compete, right? You'd actually have teams trying to win.
Yes,
That'd be good.
Especially with the play-in, because then you're looking at it in a different way. If, Mark Cuban a couple years ago, instead of looking at it like we have a chance to get this draft pick, you're looking at it as if, hey, maybe we can get some play-in revenue and that could lead to some playoff revenue. I think owners would be a bit confused on it, but they definitely would like to be able to tell the GMs there's no reason for you to gut this thing. And I'll tell you who would really like it. I mean, out here in Sacramento, they would love that because then they'd have to do what they've actually been doing for the last 10 to 15 years.
People couldn't complain about it's rigged because it would be laid out. For example, this is how, according to this proposal, which, by the way, as I said, it came out like 12 years ago. They haven't adopted it, so I don't know that it has much of a chance. But the team that gets the number one pick in the very first year of the proposed system would draft in the following slots over the first 6 seasons. So you'd have first, next year 30th, next year 19th, then 18th, then 7th, then 6th, and so on.
Yeah.
Every team takes turns, basically.
Right. I don't mind it. I mean, my initial thought is, getting people on board with it would obviously be difficult, but
there is no benefit to being bad under the wheel.
You know what it is, and you just pray that your year is not the Zachary Rissache year.
Right.
Or next year is not your year.
You could trade your pick still.
Sure.
We have the first pick in 3 years. We'll trade it to you for so-and-so. You could still do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's something that I think could be brought up, but I don't know how much Adam Silver wants to go through this big of a. I mean, this is a big change.
It is. It is. The downside would be, as Zach Lowe says, if your team is terrible and you just whiffed on the number 2 pick, you're looking at the 29th, 20th, and 17th picks over the next 3 drafts.
Yeah, you're cooked.
So, yeah.
So maybe you could couple that, because I've said this before, maybe you could couple that with some type of rules on, going back to, the Chris Paul trade that didn't happen with the Lakers. So maybe you're harder on things like that. If you just got maybe a certain market, whatever market, but this is really for the big markets. If you just got same rules that we use for the All-Star thing or whatever, maybe even higher than that. If you just got a top 10 player via free agency, a top 10 player cannot sign the next season consecutively. So that player has to go somewhere else. Maybe they go to a different big market, but it can't be, well, we got LeBron and then the next season, I know that was a trade, but the next season we get Luke. You can't do that because you're LA, because then that would also even things out since teams can't catch up if you did get the bad draft pick or the bad draft year. So that's something that, I think is probably hard to figure out, but you'd have to do all of that because all this talk about these small markets just kind of ticks me off, where all these big markets can just do whatever they want, and the media, they want to get mad at the Jazz of the world about tanking, but every second they're saying, when's Anthony Edwards going to leave? When Giannis going to leave? But they don't complain about that, but they complain about the tanking.
You could also just have a totally random drawing every year, all teams.
So the Lakers could get it first pick twice in a row.
Unlikely, but possible. But you don't get any better odds from losing games.
And you would never get it.
I'm not proposing it. I'm just saying you could
never
do that.
Get it.
That's possible as well.
I don't like that.
I don't think it would work. People would go ballistic if the Lakers did get it 2 years in a row, obviously.
Yeah.
But you could do it.
You'd have to remove them, right? You can't
if you
can't
get
the
it once,
first twice in a row.
Okay.
You get the second, but that first spin, you wouldn't be a part of that first spin.
Well, like you said, they probably won't do anything, and they'll just kind of hold their noses and look the other way for as long as they possibly can. Maybe next year will not be as bad. But if this becomes a trend where, by the All-Star game, you've got a third of the league easily and plainly and clearly tanking, I don't think that's good for the league.
It's not good. It's not good. Now, we'll see next season, because next season you do have a couple teams leaving the tank, as we've mentioned before. The Wizards are leaving the tank. The Jazz are leaving the tank. Maybe the Hornets are leaving the tank. So a good amount of teams are leaving the tank. The Blazers, I don't really know what the Blazers are doing, but they're kind of leaving the tank. So, yeah, next season, I think this is just a really bad season.
Yeah. Chris Watkins going to join us?
See what?
Yeah. the whole new and improved roundtable when we come back. Also, we'll look at whether we're any closer to an NBA All-Star game in Sacramento. Coming up with the Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
The Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter right to your email. Get your latest on the Sacramento Kings, athletics, and Republic FC with the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit sacktownsports.com to join.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now during our President's Day sales event. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Come celebrate at Stockton Honda and get huge savings on our giant selection. Plus top dollar for your trade.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
A's fans, the 2026 season is coming fast, and single game tickets are on sale now. Be there for an exciting season packed with theme days, giveaways, and firework nights, including bobbleheads, jerseys, hats, and much more. And getting in is easier than ever. Tickets start at just $8 for select April and May games. From opening day to unforgettable summer nights, there's something for everyone at the ballpark. Get your tickets today at athletics.com/tickets and be part of the excitement this 2026 season.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnoneauction.com. Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert, John Party, and more. Line dancing live DJs, mechanical bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. It's the perfect Valentine's gift. Surprise them with live country music and dancing. Country in the Park, May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Hoblit Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram Center and Hilton Sacramento. For more info, visit CITPfest.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex decking and railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's TREX.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
When Alan Stiles decided to move into the afternoons, he brought with him the Roundtable franchise. Very contentious, a lot of legal battles. Alan, I know you can't speak to all that, but you prevailed.
I will not speak on it, no, but we won. That's all you need to know. We won. And, every week we are blessed with somebody else. And this week we have been blessed with C-Watt, Chris Watkins.
I am being compensated very well for my Drive Guys appearances.
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
are.
The Drive Guys pays a lot better than what the Allens.
Oh, yeah. No, we dig deep. We dig deep.
I've learned. No, I've learned.
You got diamonds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I've heard. 4 o'clock.
That's right. 4 o'clock, the diamond hour.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you think the NBA will have the guts to actually do anything about tanking? We laid out some possible solutions. Are they just going to it's just a bad year. It'll be better next year?
Feels like they have to do something. I just don't really know what the good answer is. And
wheel.
I've heard, the wheel is a decent one. That's like where, it's kind of predetermined,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that definitely solves the losing element, but I don't think The funny thing is, I don't think that necessarily solves this Kings season, funny enough. Like, the Kings weren't trying to, as of recently, they've, started to do the thing of pulling starters in the fourth quarter, but they've just done it the good old-fashioned way of being bad, and I don't know if you can ever just eliminate that. There's always going to be the haves and haves not. That is always just the nature of sports. Even in, sports where there is more even, football has a fairly even wage scale, and you can't necessarily pay through the roof for championships like we've seen in some NBA situations. And even then, the Browns, the Lions, franchises still find their way at the bottom very consistently. So,
but at least you'd eliminate the
intentional.
Yeah.
I think that's, I always feel like that's going to be in the game, though. I don't necessarily know how. I mean, yeah, the wheel is definitely an example, but I think, the nature of the game is people are always going to figure out how to manipulate that, though.
Yeah.
Even, and then trade, that is going to bring into a whole different conversation of people are going to be confused of, when they make trades and everything like that. So, I think there is no perfect solution. I would almost say, I never lived in the era where the NBA lived it, where they just said, hey, you have the worst record, you get the first pick. But I kind of feel like at the end of the day, like that is how it should be.
Yeah, your friend Alan says don't even have a draft.
Right.
Yeah, David Dennis Jr. on Anscape said, obviously the initial thought is if you gave everybody a choice, they'd all go to L.A., they'd all go to New York. But he said, your situations like Ace Bailey and things like that, he believes that, now he said it was obviously an extreme take, but he believes that players would disperse more evenly than maybe we think. I don't know about that. There still have to be some guardrails, like, AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson can't both go to L.A., right? There'd have to be some type of guardrails. There are a lot of different ideas floating around here. I got this from the 916. All 10 non-playoff, non-play-in teams each get 10% chance at a pick, at the number one pick. That's it. You don't get more. You don't get more because you lost more or anything like that. And I guess the other part of this that could help guys is you look at what the Spurs did, and they got so very lucky with Wemby and then Castle and then Dylan Harper. I don't know. I think another way to kind of speed up this process, and I think the owners would probably be in on this, is just the idea of the consecutive tanking, right? Just more of a emphasis on, okay, we'll allow you to get in there once, but whatever, I don't know how you would do it, but whatever you got, you can't get above that, right? Like if you got the number one pick, there's no way you can get the number one pick next season. So the best you could do is 2. If you got 4, the best you could do is 5. I don't know, something like that.
That might work, but it sounds complicated, you know? And the NBA already is so complicated when it comes to the aprons and, the trades. And
The reason I brought it up is because I was trying to think about the difference between the NFL and the NBA. And I specifically remember the Colts were so shameless when Peyton left. And they just said,
suck for luck.
We do not care. And they got Andrew Luck, and they competed again, right? It was very weird how are you so bad and then so good? I mean, Andrew Luck was good.
Do you remember who their quarterback was that year? Curtis Painter.
There you go.
That's a great poll.
But the idea of the NFL has formed a world where you're not really, now some teams just stink, but you're not really going to be in the tank for a long time versus I think that's the issue with the NBA. We're trying to get 2-3 starters from the tank. If there's some way to keep them from doing that, hey, you can get a nice piece, a top 3 piece, then you got to get the hell out. I don't know. I think that would help if you can do it some way just to help motivate them to get out of the tank.
How about those Kings last night, Chris?
What
Somebody
about
just
them?
asked us, what is the strength of this roster?
I heard that. And you guys said the youth, I guess, and the draft picks. I think it's kind of a relative thing. Like if we're saying what is good about this roster relative to the rest of the NBA, I'm not sure there is an answer to that.
And some of that is by design.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, right. Exactly. But if you want to just say, like, I guess internally, if you have to lean into something, what is that something that you have to lean into? I mean, I really don't know. I mean, this team really struggles to have an identity. That was supposed to be the whole purpose of this year was, hey, record be damned. We're at the end of this season going to be closer to figuring out who we are as a basketball team. And it doesn't really feel that way. I mean, I guess maybe it's not fair to them because Hunter and Keegan haven't all played, but I think in theory when healthy, like having Maxime Reynaud, Dylan Cardwell, Sabonis, Keegan, and DeAndre Hunter, like that's a big roster. Sabonis and Cardwell are both good rebounders. Like, I guess that's kind of what you would lean into is more of a slow-paced, lean into, I remember in that Beam team season, the New York Knicks team would come in. I think that was a TNT game, and they had like 25 offensive rebounds with, Isaiah Hartenstein having like 8 or 9 of them. Josh Hart had a couple. Like, maybe that could be the model, I guess, if you want to say, is just a hard-nosed team that plays slow, really tries to take advantage of, the minutia of the game, the free throw game, the rebounds, the possessions, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Like, I guess so, but that's not
NBA. We don't do that.
Yeah, that's not sexy. That's not putting butts in seats, especially when your team is, even if it's 500 and you play that way, you're probably not going to have a lot of excitement, especially now that the Kings are where they're at. Like, I mean, that's a really, really tough sell.
I have a bit of a random question as we're moving forward into next season, and I was trying to confirm here because I've heard a couple different things just as far as, remember with Mike Brown, there was an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, and I was trying to confirm here, the Bobby Jacksons and the Mike Woodsons of the world. I do wonder, we spend a lot of time talking about Doug Christie, right? But you look at a guy like Bobby Jackson, where he was with the G League squad, he was the head coach. He got a call from outside of Sacramento, and he was helping out with the Sixers, and then obviously he gets a closer chair to the head coach chair out here in Sacramento. I wonder the stink that's happening, if we're not sure where Doug falls on this list, is this a situation where somebody like Bobby Jackson is maybe thinking, I probably got to leave. You know what I mean? I don't know if it affects him or not. Mike Woodson has been around so long. He can get a job somewhere if he wants, but somebody that was kind of on the rise like Bobby Jackson, if Doug stays put, could you see any of the assistant coaches maybe saying, I don't know that this is good to have on my resume, or would it just not matter?
I don't know if Bobby specifically. Bobby kind of fits into the Doug territory too. Of like, I mean, he's here for he'd probably show up here for free. Honestly, like
he lived here by his own choice.
Yeah, exactly. I think it has more to do with pride in them. Again, as they always talk about, and it's tough to hear now that they're in the situation they're in. But like they're here for a greater purpose, and they honestly do want to see this thing get flipped around, and they want to have a hand in it all. But maybe the Mike Millers of the world. Mike Woodson is coming from, being the head coach at the University of Indiana. Maybe he looks back to the college ranks. I don't necessarily know if these guys feel like they need to get out of the situation. I don't know how many like up and coming young rising stars they have on their bench, maybe deeper on their bench. But, the Mike Millers of the world, the Bobbies, the Mike Woodsons, like those guys have been around the league and have been established. And I would imagine maybe they do look to shake up the coaching.
Maybe that's part of the problem.
I
mean, that's maybe a different conversation. I do think that probably they are going to look to bring it. If Doug is going to be here next year, I would hope that they look to bring in like some more. Mike Woodson brings a lot of experience, but they need to bring like some bona fide like winners in here.
I think the coaching side. Some of them are insulated from having to worry about jobs because again, this whole year is we don't expect. Front office, we don't expect the team to be very good.
Right.
So there is less pressure on the coach. I would think.
Yeah.
It depends also on who was hired, by whom and why and all of that. But I would think someone like Bobby is like, things are probably going to start getting better as soon as next year. As far as my career, if that's what he's concerned about, is probably the best bet is to stick it out, rather than abandon ship and while it's halfway underwater.
Right, because if he is the fifth or sixth chair or fourth or whatever he is, if he does leave, he's not going to be that on another team. Now he's got to go back. Yeah. You might as well wait it out as the fourth chair and see.
Hey, 4 or 5 years down the road, he might be head coach, with how things turn out here.
There's got to be at least a pretty high level of excitement about, hey, you know what? Yeah, this is rough, but it's going to be better next year. We're going to get a high pick, and especially depending on where they end up in the lottery.
Right.
I could see the off season people could get really excited about it. I'm not saying they're going to win 50 games next year, but this is so dreary right now.
Yeah.
The
bar's pretty low.
So you get even the third or the second pick, people are going to start getting more excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, they were excited over the 13th pick a couple years ago. They were excited over the 24th pick.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. We can talk about them, if they fall to 5, I'll be devastated. It'll be the worst thing. We'll still get excited. We'll still get extremely excited.
That would not be bad.
Obviously, there will be levels to the excitement. If we end up with a 1 or 2 pick, this place is going to go crazy. I was just talking to Jason Ross the other day about how many people I've heard, and last time I was on with you guys, season ticket holders were calling and saying, there's no way I'm renewing tickets. I've heard that chatter more than I feel like I've heard it before here in Sacramento, or at least in a very long time. And something tells me that if we get a top pick, a lot of those people would turn around. I do think that that's exciting enough because, again, I think a big reason why people just don't like this season is there's no reason, much like your callers have said, to show up. Like, what am I getting excited for? Plus, Nick Clifford, top 25 pick or whatever.
Give me something to work with.
Give me something to get excited
pick?
about.
All right,
obsess
great.
about.
Here we go.
Absolutely. And that is something that is absolutely going to get you up off your couch and to go to a game. I think it really is as simple as that.
Chris Watkins, nice enough to join us for Kings Roundtable.
Yes,
you mentioned
compensated enough. Thank you.
Thank you. You mentioned the 13th pick in the draft a couple of years ago?
Yes.
I may be in the minority here. I know that, the company line is, he had a great first half. He had 19 points in his first start. I didn't think he played that well last night.
I don't think anybody played well, though. I don't think anybody played well. But, it does seem
– he was 4 for 13.
I don't think I kind of stuttered
6.
for a second because I don't think I realized that was that he even had played. Obviously, he got more minutes than he's gotten before, and he had a good game, especially relatively. But, I don't think I realized it was a career high for him. 19.
Yeah. But he didn't shoot the ball that well. And, again, I know everybody, including the broadcasters, are looking for positives. So, a spectacular first half. I'm sorry, Alan. And, we're in his corner, but last night I didn't think he played that well.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm just looking back at these numbers here. Is this possible? I literally had to double check. Daquan Plowden went 1 of 7 again from 3. So the last 2 I had to make sure I was on the right game. Yeah. So he went 1 of 7 from 3 against the Pelicans. Then he went 1 of 7 again. Against the
That's
Jazz.
my guy. What's your point, Alan?
He's my guy, too.
Right.
Is he?
There's just no shooters.
I'm starting to wonder about that.
Doug McDermott had 4. Besides that, you had Devin Carter 1 of 6. Neek, he's gone ice. Neek was 1 of 15. How is that possible? How is that actually possible? I know we were talking about Devin Carter, but, Devin Carter, we're trying to figure it out. He still had 19.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hard-earned 19, but Devin... Neek had 6.
I actually wonder if for some of especially the younger guys, if there's a little bit of, after this game, we're off for like a week.
Yeah. Right. Little vacation goggles on.
Yeah, I'm so confused by Neek. Great game a couple games ago, 2 stinkers. He was a minus 26. Team worst, so obviously game worst. I'm just saying, 1 of 15 from the field. Fine, I'll go there. I don't got to go anywhere else. I'll go 1 for 15, and it's not just him. I mean, there are a bunch of bricks, all of them. 1 of 5, that was DeMar. Okay, I mean, Maxime, I'm praying. I just want to see 1. Okay, lethal shooter, go down to L.A. I'll get the plane. Go down to Maxime, get on the plane. Devin, get on the plane first. You get on the plane first. Neek, get on the plane.
You're old school. Where are you guys going for All-Star break?
The gym.
I'm going to Cabo. Nope. You're getting on the plane.
Get on that dang plane. Dylan Cardwell, get on the plane. Daquan Plowden, get on the damn plane. Okay? Because I understand, guys, that this is going to look ugly. It's supposed to look ugly. But it does. I saw something, and I don't really know what, and I know you saw this too, Chris. I don't really know what the point was, but I saw this floating around yesterday where people were saying, oh, this is what y'all wanted. You wanted the young dudes to play. Well, this is what it's going to look like. My thought is, well, what's the other option? What is the other option? Letting the vets do what they do anyway? So I saw that, wasn't really sure what the actual take was. But, yeah, I mean, it is ugly, but it's going to be ugly. I think it said more about the fact that
we don't know what these young guys are going to be. You got to play them anyway, but we don't know how many young guys are actually going to be on this team in the next 2 to 3 years.
I think there's still people that think, oh, if you'd stuck with your veterans, you might be battling for a play-in spot. I don't think that, but I think that's the counter. It's like, all right, this is what you wanted. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of fall into this is what to expect when it's, if DeMar DeRozan's going to be pretty much the only guy that's able to create his own shot out there, it's going to be a lot of guys taking a lot of really ugly shots. And I think, this is at the end of the day, like it's just kind of what you're signing up for when you are trying to play this. Like the Kings are not trying to necessarily win these games. And so I think you're going to get a lot of young guy minutes. And, I think that this is just kind of a product of where they're at in the season. Like I don't really know, I don't really know where, to your point, I guess, Alan, like I don't really know what else they can do but throw these guys out. And I guess if they would have thrown out the veterans at this point, we'd just be complaining about that, right?
They were still losing.
Yeah, they were still losing, right? And so we would be shouting, if you're going to lose, at least lose and play the young guys. So I don't know. It feels like a lose-lose situation no matter what they're in now. And I think the important thing is that they do lose these games. And I think that
it really is.
You're right. I think it's unfortunate. And I think you're kind of just supposed to not see this part, or, you're supposed to think about this 3 years later with goggles of, oh yeah, that was really bad. But when you're in it right now, like this is kind of what it is. Like this is what it looks like. It's not pretty. And a lot of nights, these guys who aren't going to ever probably be in these positions ever again. Daquan Pound's never starting after this year again. I'm sorry. But, I just think that it's, this is what you get when you play, guys like that. Utah is trying to lose games too, but they're still starting Lauri Markkanen, and they still, until
because the league told them they better.
Pretty much. But
yeah.
I think these guys at least still have, guys that make sense out there for NBA rosters to an extent.
From a clinical perspective, as rough as it is to watch, it's actually fascinating, and you really get down into why is this team so bad. I think, yeah, obviously, you're missing shots. You're an NBA player. You should shoot better than some of these numbers. But I think that, to a degree, is a byproduct of the fact that the offense is so helter-skelter, they're not getting good shots. The whole point of running an offense is supposed to produce good shots. And primarily guys are just missing shots. But I think the whole thing, especially when you have, Neat Clifford and Devin Carter are running your offense or your point guards because you don't really have anybody else.
Yeah.
The offense doesn't function at a very high level.
No.
You already have guys that we know are not great outside shooters. So, all right, let's have somebody who's not really capable of running the offense, run the offense and see what kind of shots you get. Well, you end up 31 for 90.
Well, and it's so funny because we were just joking about back in the day at De La Salle running that Princeton offense. I'm not even kidding. I mean, maybe they got to go more basic right now. I'm not saying run the Princeton offense, but again, same thing we talked about with, and now the Russell Westbrook fans are mad at me again. I'll be so glad when the season is over.
Why are they mad at you?
Because they're mad at me because the FanDuel podcast, they were crying about Russell Westbrook on the team, and I said, there's a reason Russell Westbrook's still on this team.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about it.
But you're not going to like it.
Yeah.
And then it's, you don't know. He wants to be close to his family, whatever the case is. But I just think you need more guardrails, especially if you are going to go with the young guys. Because I think, to your point, we're just getting to spots within the season where you have to continue to improve on something. Okay, we've decided that the young guys are going to play, but you can't let them come out. I got a text today from in the YMCA group chat. I haven't got a text in 10 years from them. Hey, is anybody available to play at UCSF? I'm like, guys, I don't even live out there anymore. He said, we need one. We need one for 7 p.m. tonight. Haven't heard from this chat in 5 years.
Are you going?
No, I'm not going. But you can't be out there running, a YMCA, UCSF type deal.
Gotcha.
Where it just kind of looks like, hey, see what you can do, get busy on them. You're not getting busy.
I'm trying to keep up with all of that. I think I got it.
It's the coffee, man.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think that honestly, the problem that I see with the offense sometimes is that it almost is too simple. That it is just like to drive and kick, and if you get stopped, kick it out and just kind of move around. And I think they just kind of lean a lot on their on DeMar DeRozan, on Zach LaVine, on guys who at the end of the day, like if you can create your own shot, like that's great for us. And I think especially when those guys aren't playing, when Russ isn't playing, to Whitey's point, when Devin Carter and Nick Clifford are the guys running the show, they kind of don't. And back to the identity point, they just don't really have they don't have an offense in which is just like, hey, it doesn't matter who is out there. The pieces are the pieces that are just going to move, almost like football. It's like you are more fitting the structure of the offense, and it feels like right now they're just leaning too much into, we're going to get you into advantageous spots, but at the end of the day, and it probably leans into Doug being an ex-player, he's like, I trust you guys to be able to beat your man, because at the end of the day, we're all running the same stuff, and you just kind of need to beat your guy.
They're running a lot of drive and kick, right?
A lot of drive and
kick.
kick.
You can see that.
Yep.
5 out, 4 out, whatever. Draw and kick. Okay, and that's supposed to produce threes. 3 are in the key. Well, again, these guys aren't very good shooters. We know that. So just think you're guarding these guys, and they're running an offense that's designed for 3 or in the key.
Right.
You can have anything you want from 3.
Right.
So it's hard to score against a defense. It's like,
completely collapsed.
We'll give you any of that. Right. We know you're going to make it, so you're going to have to drive on us.
Yeah.
Devin
what were
Carter
the Kings
actually had some
in
success
that Pelicans
with that.
game? The Kings were like
4
of
31.
Yeah,
Followed it up with
something
7 for 33 last night.
Yeah.
I mean, they just can't shoot.
Well, to that point,
so it's easy to guard no matter what I'm running.
Right.
Well, to that point, and to give some just due back to Doug, that game against the Pelicans, I mean, we were watching it together, Chris.
Yep.
How many open, and it's supposed to be the easiest 3, and I get it. He's trying to find his way, and he's my guy, but, I mean, Daquan Plowden probably.
You say these guys are your guy, but they don't sound like
I got to keep it 1,000. I'm just saying, he missed about 4 wide open corner threes where that's not on Doug. The play netted a wide open, easiest 3 that you can have, and it was bricked.
Yep.
And it was super bricked.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Are you feeling any differently this week about potential number 1 pick, Darren Peterson, Chris Watkins?
No.
Big controversy this week.
I'm not. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't get it. I understand why people feel the way they do about him missing games, and maybe it means something bigger, but I just think it's overlooking. It's focusing way too much on this exact season and this exact situation. And once he gets to the NBA, like maybe there is some Kawhi Leonard load management. I'd rather him play, but he is sensitive about his body. But I can't imagine, and it doesn't seem to me like he's somebody who's like Anthony Davis, who's just, he is getting hurt. He's falling and it looks bad. Joel Embiid, like things like that. He looks like a freak athlete who is managing his body and understands the assignment of, I'm trying to get to the NBA draft, and I've already shown enough to get drafted, so why do I care about Kansas? What is Kansas in the long run going to do for me? Absolutely nothing. I'm doing much more for them than they are for me, and I think it's especially the nature of NIL these days, and I just think people are having a tough time adjusting to, frankly, the power shift dynamic of college basketball right now. That's my opinion on it, but I definitely understand why it's raised some alarms for some purists, maybe I would call them, that say he's not playing games. That scares me. I remember Kyrie Irving played, 12 games in college that season?
I was just talking about that yesterday.
Now, Kyrie hasn't been incredibly healthy, the model of clean health his career, but I don't think anybody attributes it to, you remember all the way back then, like we should have seen any sort of injury bug all the way back then. Now, granted, again, Kyrie did start his career fairly injured.
Well, I do think, just real quick, and I just thought about this, I wonder if it could, though, bleed into this first season, right? If Darren Peterson goes to a team that's ready to contend like the Pacers, it'll be interesting. If he goes to a team that's not going to contend, it'll also be interesting because the college season is only about 30, 32 games. So you're telling me now, just from a basketball standpoint, Darren Peterson, who's probably at this point going to play about 60% of the games, is now going to go play 82 NBA games. That is something to keep in mind.
That's a good point.
But I guess
that sounds good if I'm the Kings, though, because I'm not trying to be very good next season.
Well, I think that's right. If we went to the Pacers, it might be a little bit different, or somebody like a gap year team. But I just thought about that, off the top of my head.
So how long is this whole thing going to take? We're back with that. Chris Watkins with us for the roundtable, continuing on Sacktown Sports.
Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at sacktownsports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sacktown Sports 1140.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And you'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
Coach Christie here for Folsom Lake Ford, letting you know the President's Day Sell-a-thon is on. And with your approved credit, get 0% financing plus 0 down on select new Fords. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford today. FolsomLakeFord.com. Interest accrues from date of purchase.
NBA fans don't just watch the game, they live it. So stream like you're courtside with NBA League Pass. Your ticket to all the action. Watch your favorite team shine and catch the league's brightest stars and rising stars at the same time with multi-view on your favorite devices. From the plays you can't believe to the most live games and the drama that comes with it. If it happens on the court, it's happening on NBA League Pass.
Only select out-of-market games available. Blackout restrictions apply. Additional charges and other conditions may apply. Visit NBA.com/subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnoneauction.com.
You remember me from a show called And Joe? I'm back on the radio, Sacramento. It's Joe Mami, and when you need your new country fix, join me weekdays from 6A to 10 for the Pat and Cody with Joe show on New Country 105.1 KNCI or on the free KNCI app.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda. Yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Chris Watkins with us for the Kings Roundtable. We need music for the Kings Roundtable. I'm on that. We'll come up with some music.
Yes. Yeah, the last time we had some, it was...
Oh, you had some?
Remember back in the day with Simone, and it was the weird roundtable...
I feel like I'm vaguely remembering.
Yeah, it was like a... Like... If you go to like a King Arthur type, like a King Arthur type deal,
it was
she would play it.
Very medieval.
Yes. It was medieval.
It was a little too on the nose.
I'm sure Jay could come up with some.
I'm sure he could.
Kings Roundtable.
It might still be in there.
Yeah. I wanted to see, Chris, what you think as far as how long this whole thing is going to take. But by way of getting there, on the way, let's look at where you are right now with the top prospects in the draft. From the Kings standpoint, not, who's the best prospect there overall, but just from the Kings standpoint, how do you rank the top 3 to 5, however far you want to go.
I think AJ DeBanza should be 1 for me. I would put
Alan, you agree?
You know I do.
Okay.
I would put I'd probably put Darren Peterson 2, and I would put Caleb Wilson 3.
Woo, this is my guy.
Really?
This is my guy. We know each other.
Where's Cam? Caleb Wilson, by the way, out with a broken hand.
I did see that. Very disappointing. Hopefully he can get in, come tournament time. I don't know how serious it is. I know they kind of thought it was wrist, and then today came out his hand. So I don't know if that's better or worse, but I just hope that we can see him before the end of the season. I saw Cam Boozer at the Cal game, and I'm not trying to just base my entire opinion off one game for what it's worth. He also played very well that same weekend against Stanford. But I have just been unimpressed, and especially since that game, I've kept a good eye on him because I just, again, feel like I'm missing something.
21 points
because people just love him.
13 rebounds that
very
game.
Productive,
right?
Very
9
productive.
16.
Yeah, it's just how he kind of gets it done. He's not very athletic.
Did he not give you an autograph or something?
That's exactly what it was. He didn't subscribe to my podcast. I think it's just like I'm waiting to see exactly what it is that he does excellent, because especially if we're talking at the top of the draft, you need to have something that is freakish, that's something that sticks out amongst everybody else. And I think obviously AJ, he's 6'8", 6'9", he can handle the ball, he gets to the free throw line, he's got a couple triple doubles in college. There's a lot there to get excited about. Darren Peterson, we see, at the very least, you can question his injury stuff. We don't really know how great of a playmaker is. He seems to be, in my opinion, more of a 2 than a point guard, but I know he can score the basketball at a crazy level, and I know that can translate. And I know Caleb Wilson is a freak athlete, and I think the thing that I'm struggling to see with Cam Boozer is what jumps off the page. A lot of people say it's the IQ, which is, again, something you maybe have to watch, real tape for. You can't just watch the highlights. You have to watch the game and see how he moves and see where he positions himself and, where he passes and all that kind of stuff. But the game that I saw in the subsequent games since, I just have not seen I can see a franchise building around this guy as the epicenter of everything. I think I've used the comparison of Paul Millsap. He just seems like a guy who can be a starter in this league, but am I going to project him to be a star or the best player on a team? Maybe a one-time All-Star, sure, but I just don't see future franchise player with Cam.
Fourth at least on your list?
Maybe. Honestly, I think he's closer to 6'7" than he's listed at 6'9" as well. I'm trying to not go completely one way on Cam Boozer, but again, I've just been very, very unimpressed. And everybody else loves him. And that's why
he's in your top 5?
I have not seen enough of outside of the top 5 to confidently. Wow. I would say yes, I guess, just by default. But
we were just talking about this yesterday. There's a lot of people, you're not alone, but a lot of people around here from the Kings standpoint are just out on Cam Boozer.
I have not seen that. I wouldn't say I would love to see that, but I would feel a lot more confident in my standing because I do feel like I'm a little bit on an island because, like you mentioned, he's just incredibly productive. Even though I can say the eye test didn't surprise me against Cal, he put up 21 and 13. He is the one thing that you cannot deny is he uses his body like a grown man. He as a freshman will outmuscle, grown seniors. We now know how the college basketball landscape is. He's playing some G Leaguers out there, and he's still able to kind of throw his body around and score at an efficient level and rebound. I think his rebounding is something people think will translate a lot, but I just don't see the springy athlete. I don't see quick twitch. I don't see crazy impressive Euro steps, creativity around the rim. I don't think his shooting ability is anything special. I don't necessarily know how he's going to get his at the NBA level, to a superstar amount. Again, can he fit in a system? If OKC ends up with a top pick and gets a Cam Boozer, absolutely it's going to work out. But if you're a team like the Kings, which is the center of your question, I would just have concerns that he can lift up a franchise in that way.
Alan, I'm starting to like him more just because everybody else is so down on him.
Maybe that's why. Let me
Scoot
ask.
Can't shoot. I will never forget why.
Yeah.
You got me.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got that one.
Let me ask this, and I got to do it, and I don't know how often we've done it, but it needs to be done. If his name was Cam Smith, would he be a top 5? If his name was Cam Littlefield,
Yes.
Would he be a top 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm wondering.
His production's pretty crazy.
If the boozerness.
If he was Cam whatever, and he was 25.2, 10.9, and 4.4, yes.
Hold on now. Is the boozer boosting where we're at right now? I just got to double check.
I think maybe to the point of maybe people aren't asking enough questions. I think maybe people are saying, oh, this guy is a dominant. Again, I think a lot of people do think that he's close, like a legitimate forward center height. And they see the body. I think they're like, oh, this makes sense. He's a former, or, he's a Nepo baby, if you will. Like, he's got the DNA, and he's got the production, and he's at Duke. Duke is a very good team this year as well. Like, it all kind of
19
kind of equals up to, like, it does make sense that he's getting this much hype. But I think the fact that people aren't maybe pushing back enough that I've seen. Whitey said he's seen a lot of pushback on Cam Boozer. I haven't seen a ton of like the Sam Vicinis of the world, like the
I'm
high
talking
level
more about
people.
fans around here.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. All I'm saying is,
but he's not even 19.
Yeah.
And not just you, Chris, but a lot of people.
No, absolutely.
I don't know about that ceiling. He's not even 19 yet.
But we've seen college basketball players do their thing. I got the Naismith College Basketball Player of the Year awards right here. Sometimes they're fire. Sometimes they're just decent. Okay? You get the different Taco Bell sauces, medium, mild,
That's right.
hot, fire.
Diablo.
That's Cooper Flagg right here, 2025. The 2 seasons prior to that, Zach Edey.
I would much rather have Cooper Flagg over Cameron Boozer.
I agree.
Yeah.
He got wiggled.
I'd much rather have Cam Boozer over Zach Edey.
I agree with that too. But Zach Edey went, what did he go? 8, 9, something like that?
It was a lottery pick, yeah. It wasn't a
good
great
draft
year. Yeah,
either.
And he still went there. And again, these are guys that produce at a high level. This is the problem with the numbers thing. I would know. The batting average didn't get it done. They need to see somebody hitting 500 feet, and that wasn't your boy. Oscar Tshiebwe in 2022, where he at?
G League. Not
The
good.
G
No,
League.
undrafted.
Undrafted.
What does that have to do with Cam Boozer?
Because these are high producing college players that some things jumped off the screen, some didn't. Luka Garza, 2021. He's lugging around somewhere.
He gives me a lot of Bagley vibes.
You did not just
Cameron
compare.
Boozer.
No,
That's
I'm
wrong.
reading
Luka
off
Garza.
Naismith Players of the Year. Obi Toppin, 2020. That's my guy. 2019, Zion hit. 2018, Brunson hit. 2017 and 2016. You got 2 Kings right there, Frank Mason and Buddy Hield.
I think the difference would be that the freshmen you listed on that list are all pretty. I think it was Zion and Cooper Flagg.
You got me on that.
I think that Cam Boozer reminds me, if we were gonna throw a scary comparison, it is a Marvin Bagley, where it's like, okay, Marvin was incredibly productive, and maybe it's too simple because it's Duke to Duke and maybe Kings to Kings as well. But like the high productivity, even in the pros, you saw Marvin was a big body, the second leap, all that stuff. You understood why it made sense, and even then he was a freakish athlete, but it didn't necessarily mean that just because he was hyper productive, even as a freshman, able to use his body. NBA is a very, very, very skilled game nowadays, and I don't see the especially like the scoring ability skill of a Cam Boozer, the multiple ways to get his points. I just don't see it. It's a lot of pretty bully ball finishes.
I'm never gonna let you forget the day you compared Cam Boozer to Luka Garza.
I didn't do that.
I'm writing that one down and putting it up on the board.
And I don't even know if Cam's going to win Naismith Player of the Year.
I don't care.
Well, you should.
They probably will at this point.
You probably should.
Yeah, you with us one more?
Why not?
Yeah. I got a question for Chris on the other side.
Okay. Also, we still have to look at how long this is going to take. And Sacramento's All-Star Game chances. We got a lot to get to. By the way, top of the hour, speaking of the draft, Kristen Peak, NBA draft analyst. And we got more with Chris when we come back to Sacktown Sports.
The San Francisco 49ers play on Sacktown Sports 1140.
Touchdown 49ers! Every game on your #1 sports station. Don't miss the action on your local sports leader. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that, cools up to 8 times faster, and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus free premium delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
At the UPS store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Yo, Palisades crew. Johnny Mosley here, blasting into your Thursday with the Toyota Tahoe Report. The Toyota's locked and loaded, so let's swing open the door, peek at the conditions, and see what Mother Nature is serving up today.
Thanks, Johnny. Expect mostly sunny skies with a high near 46 degrees and light winds out of the northwest. Evening will dip down to 23 degrees. Dry conditions continue through Friday. This report is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Your business moves fast. Your bank should keep up. At Valley Strong Credit Union, business banking is built for momentum with tools that help you manage cash flow, streamline payments, and fuel growth. Right now, there's never been a better time to switch. Open a new Valley Strong business account and get 3 months of business banking products and services free, up to $750 in value to power your next big move. Because when your business runs stronger, the whole Valley does too. Valley Strong Credit Union. Grow your business, grow your future at valleystrong.com/business.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnoneauction.com.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
There's always more Kings talk to discuss.
And we got you covered. It's the Drive Guys.
Right now, we got the roundtable going on with Chris Watkins, and it's All-Star Weekend coming up. You know, we had the NBA All-Star Game in San Francisco. You guys both went to that last year, right?
We did.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
This year in L.A., so again, that begs the question, Sacramento ever going to get an NBA All-Star Game? There was a piece about that today in The Bee at sacb.com, and it boils down to this, as I know Jay is aware of this. Generally, the NBA aims for a hotel capacity of 7,250 rooms with 5-star options. Right now, Sacramento, according to Mike Testa, who's been on the show, Sacramento remains a ways off from that. Subtracting motel rooms, which many event organizers exclude, there's about 3,125 hotel rooms between the Sacramento River and Alhambra Boulevard, which is too few for many events. Looks like there's a shot at Sacramento getting the Final Four for women. That's a possibility. And, of course, there's lots going on with potentially MLB and FDAs end up staying here longer. Maybe some things will be done there, and there are plans for more hotels, but that's where it is right now. And I bring that up because Sacramento did, as most people know, Sacramento they did have a pitch for an All-Star game a couple of years ago that involved, yachts on the river that people could stay in. So
yeah,
They actually had people. Pardon me, Alan. I didn't realize this. It was in this piece in the Bee. I knew that they were talking about having people for an NBA All-Star game stay in Napa.
Okay.
But also, according to this story, there was talk of an exclusive freeway lane to get people from
we got enough construction, man,
to Sacramento.
It's an hour away.
I was like, it's really not that close.
I was assuming that, I don't know, a helicopter or something, but they'd have some sort of blocked off, fast lane.
That's what Domas uses, the helicopter.
Yeah.
He must. But
had you ever heard that, Jay, that you knew about that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, it hurt.
I have heard some things. I've talked to some business owners and, heard through the grapevine. There are some big ideas out here in Sacramento. I don't know if they will come to fruition. But, with that Macy's shutting down out there in Doco, there were a lot of ideas there with the empty space kind of around there. I talked to some business owners around that area, and they do have a lot of ideas.
I think a lot of people downtown agree that All-Star game or not, there's a need for more hotel space in the city. So that's something that they're working towards, but it'll be a while. And it's not like next year the All-Star game is going to be here. Of course, that's predetermined. But the league is evaluating bids for the 28, 29, and 30 NBA All-Star games.
So
can we get in on that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if
people
we'll
are
get
working
there,
on it.
But there are a lot of people that they are trying to push it in that direction. That's what I
was thinking about it too, with the Super Bowl being here the other day. With this, like, when's the next time any of these events are going to come out here in general? Because I'd imagine the Super Bowl's probably done here. They've now been to Santa Clara twice, and it's not the newest stadium. There's also going to be a line of new football stadiums for them to go to. It's also outdoors instead of indoors. Like, that will probably prevent it from being picked again. And then Chase Center, they just had the All-Star game there last year for the NBA.
Doing, the Intuit Dome gets theirs. All right, good job. Here's your All-Star game. Yeah.
Doesn't feel like it's likely that any of these events are going to come out to Northern California. I don't want to say ever, but I can't think of a reason. I mean, maybe Chase Center is the best hope again, but I just can't think of a reason for them to be for San Francisco, for Sacramento, any of these places to be next in line.
I like to feel like the NBA owes Sacramento one for getting the Golden One done.
Yeah,
but obviously
I think it's too late for that though.
Well, I'd like to think that at some point, if Sacramento's like, look, we took care of this, we're ready for you. Maybe they'd throw a bone our way.
I'll trade you for the number one pick. How about that? How about we don't get the All-Star game ever, and we'll just get the first pick in this year's draft?
Done.
I'll take that.
Done.
That one.
This was from July. Oracle Park, I know it's baseball,
there you
but
go. Yeah.
front runner to host the 2028 MLB All-Star game. So that's something that could pop up now. I don't know if that hits as hard as...
And that's hosted one All-Star game, I believe?
I believe so.
Yeah, the Ichiro inside the park, home run off Chris Young.
That could be something, that not as big as maybe some of the other events, but it's pretty big. I mean, I'm not going to poo-poo it at all.
Especially, you get the Derby, too. Like, that's its own separate day of action down there. And I think, I think in general that field is obviously just like one of the – like, it's done a good job of retaining its value in terms of, being one of the most prestigious ballparks. And I guess, that would definitely be the one. And then after that even, then it starts.
You had a question for him, right?
Yes, this is taking a hard left back to Kingsville because something else that I saw, and he's going to seem like I'm picking on this guy, but I'm not.
Let me guess, he's your guy.
He is my guy, but it's more about the thought process because Whitey and I spoke about where this thing is going and how many two-way guys should be getting time. Now we're seeing Daquan Plowden get some time. Now we're seeing Isaiah Stevens get some time as well, but it's never enough for Kings fans, and that's all fine and good. This is something that we discussed going into the season, Kyle and myself, and it was kind of a running joke that the G League team was not young, right? And why do you have, what was Elmore, who's 28, 30 years old, guys like that, and now you find yourself in a situation where you are trying to play some of these guys, and they are older. I mean, Daquan is 27. Chris, I don't know how much you saw of this on social media. Does it bug you at all that the two-way guys that are getting brought up for the Kings in this capacity, and I got to double-check Isaiah Stevens' age, but, the Daquan Plowdens of the world who are 27, does it bug you at all that the G League team, even though they're the defending champs, they're not a younger team? So knowing what was probably the writing on the wall, you could have some younger guys getting some time, or, is it kind of grasping at straws? Because I know you saw a lot of Kings fans saying, go out and get some young guys if this is going to be the case, instead of playing older G League dudes.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like you said. I think some people will never be satisfied, and I think some of it too is they didn't expect to be in this situation. I think if they would have known going into the year that they were going to be the worst team in the NBA, they probably would have just taken more undrafted guys, right? Like just take more bites at the apple and try and get somebody who you can get any sort of minutes from while you're trying to rebuild. But I think the fact that they thought they were going to kind of be in that play-in race potentially, they thought, hey, let's get Isaiah Stevens, who I think had a year of experience coming into this. Not much NBA experience, but I think he spent last season with Miami. And then Daquan Plowden obviously has spent a couple years in the NBA. I think he actually got a good chunk of time in Houston. I think they kind of felt like, let's use our two-way spots to maybe actually help our playoff push if there is going to be one. And Dylan Cardwell, I guess, was the exception. But, I think that's a little bit hindsight being 2020. And also it's, that is definitely we're really getting into the minutia at that point if we're worried about, NBA G League level development.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you.
How long is this going to take? Best case scenario. Let's say they do well in the draft. What are we looking at here realistically? I know Scott Perry says he doesn't want to put a timeline on it.
Yeah.
Of course he doesn't. It's just not beneficial to do so publicly. But what are we looking at realistically?
Well, realistically, I feel like it's probably 3 to 4 years. I think your best case scenario is this is a bad season. You get a good pick. Next year's rough. You get another top pick, and then maybe going into that year is kind of, it's that second player's second year.
I
it's
agree.
AJ's third, or whoever
it's
it
not
is.
likely, but I could see that if things break your way. Yeah.
That is the absolute best scenario. That's if this year, or who knows, the year after, I guess. It'd be more beneficial, obviously, to get it this year and get the ball rolling. But if you can get one of these top-level rookies that is Cooper Flagg, somebody that is actually changing how people talk about your basketball team, that's the only way that they get this thing going. If they just draft mid-level guy, if they draft 2 Keegan Murrays, that's fine for the overall development of the team being watchable, but that's going to extend this thing probably to more of the rebuild that we saw previous to the
Is Cam Boozer a Keegan Murray?
In my opinion, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
my goodness.
In my opinion,
Alan,
in my humble,
you got anything to say about that?
Still need to finish opinion.
I think he could be better than Keegan, but that still doesn't make him
a guy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a launch angle splash hit at Oracle Park.
Right.
Might be off the brick. Double off the brick.
Might be off the 415 side,
Might be triples
alley. Exactly.
But we need a splash hit.
Yeah, we need a splasher.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Drop the shoulder.
Right.
Get it into the jet stream.
Let that thing go.
Backspin that thing. Get into the wall.
You know how many home runs Allen hit when he played at Temple?
Career?
Yeah.
7.
It's a little, around there. Around there.
You're only 7 off.
It's a little confusing. No. What happened was the right field, there was something wrong with right field.
He had a high batting average.
There's something
295,
wrong with
I think.
Look, I'm before the time of the launch angle. If I had launch angle.
Yeah, you've said that before.
I mean, if there's somebody out there that needs to hit a fence, I'm your guy.
Hey, I didn't even play, so,
the fence.
who am I to say?
The fence feared me. A fence
That's right.
hates
to see you coming for
exactly.
sure. Yeah, leaving dents in that thing.
That's why.
You with Chris? Things go well. Rough year this year, rough year next year, and then maybe you're ready to come out of the mud like a lotus flower.
That's crazy that's positive.
Yeah. I to be honest with you, I think if you really get it right, it could be a rough next season, and you could be getting out of it. I think you might not need both if you get lucky. It's all about who you draft, right? But this season obviously stunk. If you get lucky, you get Darren or whoever. Next season, stink again, get lucky, maybe some development jumps somewhere, and then you could be ready to be watchable. I'm not saying, you could be ready for a 6 seed or something like that.
I'm hoping that next season they can just be fun. Like, I just get us excited about, like, watching the team, going to the games. Like, obviously a rookie would help that a ton, but, like, they in my opinion, just next season need to get people excited about Kings basketball again, because I think that they are definitely at risk of losing a lot of people that they gained during the Beam Team season. And I wouldn't call them bandwagon fans, but I think a lot of people were waiting for years for a reason to care. They gave them a reason to care, and now they're giving them reason to go right back to where they were.
Cam Boozer, people going to be back on board.
That's right. Yeah, you're going to hear a lot of boos in that arena.
They're saying Boozer.
Yeah, that's
real.
Right.
Yeah. Real quick, I think the difference between the Kings and some of these other teams is that when the Jazz moved on from Gobert and Donovan, it felt like very ceremonious. It was a great exodus. You got a bunch of picks. With the Kings this season, you can't move on from Sabonis, guys like that. Yeah. That's been the tough part to start this rebuild.
Yeah.
Kristen Peak is going to join us when we come back, NBA draft analyst. We thank you, Chris Watkins.
Thank you for having
Always
me.
Appreciate it.
Y'all.
Great to see you. Drive Guys, roll on with more draft talk next on Sacktown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Downtown Sacramento.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
The President's Day Sell-a-thon is on at Folsom Lake Ford. And with your approved credit, get zero down, no finance rates, plus huge factory incentives on select new Fords. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford. Tell them Coach Christie sent you. See dealer for details.
The Sacramento Kings are bringing fans one of the best ticket deals of the season. Now through February 16th, get tickets to any Kings game with no fees. Catch must-see matchups against the Warriors, Spurs, Bulls, and more, plus fun theme nights like Girls Night Out, Y2K Night, and Slamson's birthday. And you won't want to miss your chance to see your favorite Kings players take the court, like exciting rookies Maxime Reynaud and Neat Clifford. Head to kings.com/no fees today and grab tickets to any game with no added fees.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnoneauction.com.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Live and local, it's The Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
I've been standing up for Cam Boozer. It's a lonely position to take, Alan. People around here, I don't know. Drive Guys rolling on here with some inside word on the upcoming NBA draft. Nice enough to join us. NBA draft analyst for NBA.com and HHQ Sports, color analyst for NBA TV, Kristen Peak with us. How are you today, Kristen?
I'm great. I am in California. I'm calling some high school games during All-Star weekend. I'm currently at my sister's house right now, which is why I'm sitting in the kitchen. But and then I was just at Illinois, saw Keaton Wagler. I saw my Kall Brown's 45-point game. So, I mean, I know Sacramento King fans, you guys are hurting, but I promise you the end is near. This draft class is incredible.
At the very top of the draft class, there's a lot of talk around here about Darren Peterson, who looks, when he plays well, not even when he plays great, when he plays well, he looks like, wow, that's the best player in the draft. But people are concerned about, he's not playing some games. He missed the last game, flu-like symptoms. He's been sitting out. Is some of that, perhaps, Kristen, just a little exaggerated? Should we be so worried about that with a guy that good?
No, you should not be worried. I've been covering Darren and calling his games at the high school level. I've been to Kansas several times just for practice in the preseason. I was at the BYU Kansas game where he had one of the best first halves in all of college basketball. So you see that. And there were several NBA GMs there. Sam Presti was there. The Indiana GM was there. Brian Wright from the Spurs was there. Sean Marks from the Brooklyn Nets was there. So just to see that glimpse of what he can be. I mean, I think people are overthinking it. I think if you're a Kansas fan, you wish that he was healthy, but these are real injuries. I know he had a hamstring issue. I know, he had problem with cramping and then rolled his ankle at Texas Tech and then just got sick. But people need to remember Kyrie Irving only played 11 games at Duke and he was the number 1 pick. And Darren Peterson has played 13. And you said it, like when he is at his best, you see that greatness and why people are still projecting him as the number 1 pick.
There we go, Alan.
Kristen, when I talk to my buddy Whitey over here, he continues to say, Alan, this draft is so incredible. You pick in the top 5, top 10, there's a guy for you. How safe is this draft? Everyone keeps saying how good it is. Top 5, top 10. How many potential whammies are there in this draft that might look good, but could end up maybe not being quote unquote bust per se, but maybe not as good as advertised?
Listen, this is my favorite draft class in the last 10 years. I think the talent at the top is completely stacked. You have your different tiers. Of course, you have AJ DeBonsa, Cameron Boozer, Darren Peterson, and Caleb Wilson is kind of that top tier. And then you got someone like Keaton coming out of Illinois who just came out of nowhere. And Keaton Wagler, of course, and Kingston Fleming's what he's doing at Houston. And so you want me to name a bust? I can't do that. Like there's so many dudes, especially in the top 10. And, you're not going to see those older players taken very early. I want to say maybe the first upperclassman that's going to be taken is either Yaxel Lendenberg, who's one of the best players playing for a top team like Michigan, or LeBaron Filan, who's just going off at Alabama. He could have come out last year, elected to return, and he's really helped himself. And those are still, really, really good players. So you want me to name a bust? Like, I don't know. It's not that easy. Like maybe 2-3 years ago, I would have said I could have had some guys for you, but in this draft class, I've been looking forward to it for so long, and there's so many NBA GMs and scouts that have. Like after this, it falls off a little bit. So if you're going to hit on this draft, this is where it counts.
Kristen Peak sharing her draft expertise with us, draft analyst for NBA.com. I know you mentioned Keaton Wagler, and I know you just watched him, Kristen, from Illinois. Why has he been rising up the draft boards?
It's unbelievable. I mean, you look at him and he's very, very similar to not what Tyrese Halliburton is right now, but what Ty was at this age. He's got that great frame at 6'6". He still needs to work on his body. He knows that. He needs to put on some weight. But what he did in the last 2 games, first against Michigan State into overtime, he almost won it for them in that overtime. And then I was at that Who'd they just play? They just played Wisconsin. They lost in overtime to that game. He had 34 points. Illinois only played 6 players. They'd have Kylan Boswell is out and Andrei Stojakovic is out. So they only played 6 players. Keaton Wagler played 46 out of 47 minutes in that game. And when you look at it, he was a top 100 player, top 100 recruit. And when I talked to him at practice, I said, do you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, similar to what we're seeing with Caleb Wilson, how he's keeping receipts and he's taking it to be? And he said, no, I'm here to show that there are different paths to the NBA and I am in the right situation. Illinois has surrounded him with a lot of perimeter shooting. So that just spaces the floor. And what are you going to get at the NBA level? More floor spacing. So he's kind of in the perfect scenario and he's kind of creeping up into that top 5 pick. And of course, he leads all freshmen with points this season in terms of breakout games. He had 46, in a game last month. So he's showing that offensively, he's getting good looks and his great reads off the pick and roll and shot selection.
Yeah, Kristen, you brought up Caleb Wilson. We saw the news come out today about his hand. Are you hearing anything specifically about that injury and how long he could be out?
I mean, he just posted a photo on his social media with his hand in a soft cast, and he's being very active, responding to people who are saying, oh, North Carolina fans, I hope you enjoyed it while it lasts and you don't take it. And he said, it's not over yet. So in his mind, I mean, he's already teasing, like, maybe I could come back, like, depending on what our postseason looks like. But man, he has just been so incredible. That Duke game, what he did in the first half, the turnaround jumpers from the corner, and then afterwards, going out and partying with all of UNC fans, like having the belt up, like he is just, nobody is enjoying their 1 year in college more than Caleb Wilson.
Kristen, I wanted to ask you about Cam Boozer. A lot of fans around here. It looks like, from what we can tell, it looks like the Kings right now themselves are very high on AJ DeBonsa. A lot of fans obviously see that. They share that view. They're high on Darren Peterson, as we discussed. Some fans have their questions, we'll see. But very few fans that I'm hearing from, seeing, are really high on Cam Boozer. There's a notion around here that Cam Boozer's a safe pick, but he lacks something that the other two may have. I know he's not even 19 yet.
I know.
Do you think that's fair? I mean, how good of a pro does Cam Boozer look like he could become?
It's crazy to me in any draft year that we are talking and looking at Cameron Boozer as a potential 3rd or 4th pick. This is the winningest player in all of high school basketball. He won 4 straight state championships at Columbus High School, 3 gold medals for Team USA. He won 3 Peach Jam titles, 15, 16, and 17U, and they were national titles at Geico or at Chipotle Nationals last year. He is a winner. He's doing that at Duke, but he has the highest floor and not the lowest ceiling, but it's almost like NBA scouts and executives, they know what they're getting in him. And when you look at Darren Peterson and AJ DeBonsa, AJ 6'9", potential shooting guard, and what he does in that mid-range game, you cannot pass up on what those two can be. Darren Peterson, I'm not ever going to say it. People are throwing around crazy comps for him, which is so reckless. And I'm never going to say that. I'll call him more of a taller Brad Beal. But what he projects, like I was talking to somebody else in our industry, and he said, listen, the future of the NBA, for me, Victor Wembanyama and then Darren Peterson. Wow. They think he's going to be that special.
Kristen, I know I asked you about potential whammies in this draft. What about sleepers? There are some people out there the Kings traded into the first round last season. Who are you seeing at the bottom of the first round that maybe Kings fans could get excited about after they get AJ DeBonsa?
Dalen Swain at Texas has really started to come out and he's blowing up a little bit. I thought Braden Burries would kind of be in that back half, but he has been incredible during league play. I was at the BYU game where he was just awesome offensively. And you didn't know what was going to happen with Jaden Bradley in the backcourt and the number 1 team and what sort of offensive touches he was going to get, but he's really come along. And the only thing that's going to hurt him, I think, is the fact that he's an older freshman. He's already 20. He turned 20 in October. But when you're looking for bang for your buck in the back half of the first round. I think those two players are really making a name for themselves.
That's Kristen Peak, NBA draft analyst for NBA.com. I'm going to ask you now, Kristen, to do something I call punctuating the prospects. So let's take A.J. DeBonsa. Can you give us his biggest exclamation mark? Like, this is the main thing people are excited about, and a question mark, the biggest area of concern for A.J. DeBonsa right now as a prospect.
The biggest exclamation point is his mid-range game. He can get a shot up over anyone. I mean, that Texas Tech game, there were maybe 3-4 that were collapsing on him, and he's able to rise above. He's also super competitive, and he's a great defender. He can defend positions 1 through 4. The biggest question mark is still his three-point jumper and how consistent that can be. Creating off the dribble and also in catch and shoot, it's been kind of like his Achilles heel for the last 2 or 3 years, but we're seeing some progress in that.
Mm-hmm. And you project him as a guard, right?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to end up being a 2. And, you look at the NBA game, it's all about spacing. And if you're a perimeter player and you can read, ball screens and DHOs well on the defense, which he does very well, it doesn't matter if you're a 2 or a 3, but he can play any position on the perimeter.
Kristen, obviously a lot of people are bringing up the tanking conversation, and I've basically said I don't know how bad it's going to be moving forward because 2026, this draft class, is supposed to be legendary. Now, when it comes to the 2027 class, I don't know that is the same conversation. You could answer this in the most positive way you feel fit. But I'm going to ask you the question, just how bad is the 2027 draft class supposed to be?
It's not terrible. You got Tyron Stokes, Bruce Branch reclassified up, Bruce Branch III. He was the top junior in the class, along with now Marcus Spears Jr. is, but I'm not mad at it. I mean, I think the only reason people are saying, oh, it's terrible is because of how monumental this class is. But Tyron Stokes is a very good player, 6'8", point forward. He's playing with J.J. Crawford, Jamal Crawford's son, and Jamal is coaching him at Rainier Beach. They just won a playoff game. But Tyron Stokes is very, very good. Bruce Branch is very, very good. Jordan Smith Jr., oh my gosh, the best two-way guard in all of high school basketball. He's making his college decision on Friday. He's either going to go to Duke or Arkansas. Those are what many believe are his final 2. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not as outspoken about oh, this class sucks. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's just looking at how much star power is in this class, it kind of is a little underwhelming.
Mm-hmm. So Kristen, as you know, the Kings really need a centerpiece at some point. They're hoping to land one here. Right now they have the worst record, which would mean they would pick no worse than 5th. If they end up picking 4th or 5th, do they, in your view, still have a decent shot at landing a true centerpiece in this draft?
Absolutely. We haven't even talked about Elijah Arenas, who has come back at USC, and he's really starting to figure it out. He hit the game winner at Penn State. In the last 3 games, he's averaging about 26 points per game. And so he's someone that I think that not a lot of people are talking about in that second tier, but has great positional size. Of course, his dad, Gilbert Arenas, has that NBA makeup. A lot of NBA teams like these legacy kids, and Elijah's 6'6", 200 pounds. And he's someone that I think during the pre-draft process could start climbing up draft boards.
Kristen, we've seen this, I guess, transition into these bigger ball handlers, Denny Avdia. Luka is Luka. But what are you seeing in the recruiting and college ranks when it comes to how pure point guards are evaluated right now? Does it matter if you're the best point guard out there, but you're under 6'5", does it matter to the same way it maybe used to matter, 5 years ago?
It's a lost art. You're absolutely right. And when I mentioned Jordan Smith Jr. and Caleb Holt is another one, I mean, those 2 players that'll be in next year's draft class, they have the cards stacked against them because of their height. It doesn't matter how well they're dominating at the high school level. Darius Acuff in this draft at Arkansas, he's arguably one of the best point guards in all of college basketball, but because he's a little undersized, it's hard to translate to that in terms of what we're seeing with the bigger players because they have to guard them or at least guard them off the switch, and so you got to really kind of hone in. And that's why we're seeing Keaton Wagler come at, even Kingston Flemings has good, Kall Brown, 6'4", has good size, can hit the 3, create that space. And so I think that's the biggest question mark. If you are a true point guard, we're going to see it next year as well. Deron Rippey Jr., the Duke guard coming in. and what he's going to be able to do. Yes, he's going to be fantastic at the college level, but how does this game translate? Not everybody can be the next Chris Paul. You got to be able to look and project for your franchise later down.
It's NBA.com draft analyst Kristen Peak. My last one for you, Kristen. Speaking of point guards, if I'm not mistaken, you saw Kall Brown Jr.'s big outburst.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was wondering if you could tell us about that.
Oh my God, 45 points. And I was with his mom. We had lunch and I said, you know what? I think Kell's going to have one tonight. And she goes, he needs it. He needs it. And then I went to NC State shoot around. They looked awesome. And I'm like, this is the best I've seen this team. And I'm like, oh, maybe it won't be this game. And then it came very, very clear that he was hunting those shots. He had 10 threes. He tied most threes in a game in Louisville program history with 10, and he tied the scoring record with 45 points. He broke the ACC freshman scoring record with 45 points. And it was such a fun game to watch. And it was at home and everybody was just like all behind him. And as soon as he hit that 45, I mean, they called a timeout, subbed him out. And, when he came back and the media is trying to play it cool and he's like, well, my teammates were just finding me. They were encouraging me. But you could tell like he was excited to have that moment.
Yeah, keeping the conversation about point guards, we've been going back and forth about Darren Peterson as a primary ball handler, point guard. I know Anthony Edwards has been brought up where the Timberwolves kind of need a point guard, but Anthony Edwards also has the ball a lot. Do you see Darren Peterson as somebody that could play point guard, or would you find him in a situation like Anthony Edwards where you might still need a point guard, but he's going to have the ball a lot? How do you see that working at the next level?
I think he's more of a combo. I actually think Darren is better off the ball when he's not initiating offense because he just is so quick with his decisions and especially like getting a shot off. And it's better in a catch and shoot. Not that he struggles off the dribble, it's still very, very quick, but I would like to see him in a scenario where you slide another true point guard alongside him.
Kristen, as you can imagine, lottery and draft fever is starting to really gain a foothold here in Sacramento. We appreciate your time. We'd love to talk to you again soon. Thank you for all your insight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Great
Kristen
stuff.
P., NBA draft analyst, NBA.com.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff there. I got to have a conversation with you, though.
With me?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Well, first of all, I was very surprised you didn't bring up your boy, Kingston Flemings.
Oh, she brought him up enough. Yeah, she brought him up.
I think you deserve the dedicated question.
Well, I'm planning, and thank you, Jay, for lining that up. I'm hoping that we'll get to talk to her again.
Okay.
One thing that came to mind, and I'm not dodging your question, but one thing that came to mind as we were having this discussion is, we still have the tournament yet to be played.
Yes.
So there's still a lot of variance in what the stock, if you will, of these players is, where it's going to end up before the draft.
That's why it was so funny about the Darren Peterson thing, because that game was a great game, but, against BYU, that thing is going to be so far in the past when we get to just the conference tournaments and then March Madness, and it's all going to happen very quickly. So I don't think this thing is over, by a long shot. I think Darren Peterson had the lead, if you will. Now you have Caleb Wilson, who I think maybe could have crept into the top 3, but now he's got the hand situation. So you're right. This thing isn't over yet. But I got to say this. When it comes to, I've told you this before, when I think of certain names, right? I'm a big name guy. I like a good name. Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
You hear those names, you think, yeah, that's going to be somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, when I look at these names here, there's a problem because I look at AJ DeBonsa.
Yeah.
That's a star name, Whitey.
Okay.
AJ DeBonsa. Cam Boozer, it's a little bit different because he's got, the name from his pops and all of that. But then you got Kingston Flemings, right?
Yeah.
Kingston
Flemings. I'm with you. Yeah.
That is a dude.
That's big time.
Darren Peterson, that doesn't really have.
But he spells Darren with a Y.
When I close my eyes, I think, Darren Peterson MVP. I don't know. But AJ DeBonsa. You know what I mean?
What did you
Cam
think
Boozer.
of a kid came out of Carolina by the name of Michael Jordan?
That's
right?
different. That's Mike.
It's different?
It's Mike.
Yeah.
There's always going to be exceptions to the rule. LeBron James, Steph Curry, the chef Curry.
Irvin Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at these, Caleb Wilson, I got kind of an issue with that one too. When you look at some of these names here, Kingston Fletcher. That's a name.
That is a very Allen way to judge prospects. I'll give you that.
A.J. DeBonta.
It's a very Allen Styles way to evaluate a basketball
and
prospect.
that's how we find ourselves in a Tijan Salon conversation.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Tijan Salon.
But
Yeah.
I look at A.J. DeBonta. That's a champion name. That's an MVP name. Luka Doncic, Luka Magic. These are champion names. You need somebody. That's how y'all should have known that you shouldn't have taken Marvin Bagley. Like Marvin Bagley. That sounds like it ain't working out.
It seems simple when you put it that way.
James Wiseman. I could have told you that wasn't going to work out. Now, Jonathan Kuminga.
Now that sounds like a player.
That was
It
it's
does
not over
not
yet.
sound like some guy who brings his entourage in to clean out the cupboards.
Jonathan Ham
What
Sandwich.
happened to the snacks? Kuminga came by
That's
with
right.
his entourage.
So I'm just saying, we got to keep that in mind. There are a lot of great names out here.
Yeah, don't go to Costco after Kuminga's been in there with his boys because all the free samples gone.
Yeah, just
Gone.
no decorum. They're taking everything.
And I think we may have discussed this with you a little bit. Where are you with Darren Peterson and the whole issue of whether or not, he wants to play?
No problem. If you get the number one pick, it's him or DeBonta. I don't think there's a question that's out there. And don't fool yourself. You don't have to. I know Allen is going off people's government names out here in these streets, and I get it. Show your passport, real ID. They got to be spot on. I understand it, Allen. I feel you. And I understand. I think Allen is having an issue because these guys are so close, and we heard Kristen talk about their talent is so close. You're trying to figure out a way how to really decipher what you want or who you want to draft. But Darren Peterson, if he's there, number one, and he's your guy, then you take him. I don't care if his ankle is tender right now, if he's got a broken foot right now. I'm taking Darren Peterson.
Yeah, and she didn't hesitate. What she said, she's known him or been following him since high school.
High school.
Yeah. This is not a guy with character issues.
But I think what Jay is saying is a great point, and that's what Kristen initially brought up. Does it make you feel better that Kristen is saying that these are real injuries? Should that make you feel better?
I think so. I mean, because I'm thinking of that game where he sat out the second half against BYU and he had the heating pad on his thigh. If he's not really hurt, that's weird. Because he knew the camera was on him, and he was almost like, "I'm sorry, I can't play."
Sometimes you gotta heat up, man. It's cold in that gym. Look, Keaton Wagler, come on, Wag.
Wag's moving up the draft boards.
He is.
These are some good names,
Koa
man.
Pete.
Koa Pete. That's a star.
Yaxo Luxembourg.
That's a star. Was it LeBaron? Was it Filan?
Filan.
Oh my goodness.
You talked about him, yeah.
LeBaron.
Yeah.
He's
need
old,
LeBaron. Alan, he's almost 21.
I need LeBaron. These are some good names, man. Jaden Quintance.
We need Alan Styles' ranking of the prospects by their names.
I'm going to tell you, we need to do it.
Darius Acuff.
Oh,
Jr.
my goodness. Dalen Swain. She mentioned Dalen Swain. Give me Dalen Swain.
So who's the boring one? Darren Peterson.
Darren Peterson. I mean, come
Caleb
on.
Wilson.
Caleb. What's another? I got Brandon Burries. He buries a three. Come on, it's right there.
Nate Ament.
Nate, no.
I
can't do it.
Okay.
What about Juke Harris?
Oh, give me that all day. Where's he at? Where's he at?
Wake Forest, shooting guard.
Yeah, we need it. We need it. Come on, now you guys are getting it, man. I know Drapes would feel me on this.
Yeah. Right now, if you had the number one pick, who are you taking, Whitey?
I'm taking Darren Peterson.
If you had number one pick, who are you taking, Allen?
I'm the Kings, right?
You're the Kings.
Yeah. I think they take DeBonta, but I would take Darren Peterson.
And
I would not hesitate.
See that? You're throwing too much in there. I asked.
And
Kevin Whitey
I
Gleason,
answered.
Stretchy B, but you put too much in there.
No,
Stretchy
I
B, if you're picking
Darren Peterson.
I don't need the explanation. If you're taking number one draft pick right now, Allen, who you taking?
A.J. DeBonta.
See, I don't think you go wrong with either.
Yeah. By the way, Allen, according to Tankathon, the Kings at number one, they take Darren Peterson. Just looking at the names here for you. At 31, they go Amari Allen.
Oh my goodness.
And then at 42, Dash Daniels.
Oh, we got three hits. Call it in. We got 3 hits, baby. Dash Daniels is his name?
Dash Daniels from Melbourne.
Oh, I love Melbourne. I love kangaroos. Let's go, man. We got hits. This is what I'm talking about, guys.
What's the other guy from Kansas, the big fella? It's like
Flory
yeah.
Badunga?
Oh, yeah.
Badunga.
That's
a
a good one.
Flory Badunga.
I don't know how he, projects as a pro, but he's a good player.
I think they got him. I've seen his name a few times in, bottom of the first round.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jay. I can't find it right now, but I've seen it there too. Man, he plays hard. He's a good player.
I'm going to no ceiling, somebody we rock with. Let's keep going down. Florey's number 30, Dallas Mavericks.
Okay, yeah.
Some good
courtesy
names,
of
man.
OKC.
Yeah. What about Tamin Lipsey?
Haven't seen him.
Tamin Lipsey, point guard, Iowa State. I don't
6'1".
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the name is.
Okay, you got on Tamin.
I'm sorry, man. And I know it's funny for me to say that, but come on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough go right now.
All right, when we come back, a look at why former NBA players are wondering, what is Russ doing? And we'll continue Alan's analysis of NBA draft prospects by how cool their names are. That and more when we come back to Sacktown Sports.
Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at SacktownSports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sacktown Sports 1140.
If your business depends on reliable vehicles, it's time to upgrade your fleet at myelkgrovechevrolet.com. We specialize in fleet pricing, bulk discounts, and fast approvals, so your team stays on the road and on the job. From work trucks and vans to fuel-efficient sedans and SUVs, we have the inventory, service, and financing to keep your business moving. Call or visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com today and ask about exclusive fleet savings. myelkgrovechevrolet.com, driving business forward.
Capital Casino, conveniently located on 411th North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Okay, guys, who is done with their Valentine's Day shopping? What are you waiting for? Stop putting off your Valentine's Day shopping and go to Prestigio Jewelers today.
She's right. Prestigio Jewelers has everything you need for Valentine's this year. And you're approved guaranteed. No credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy? 6 months proof of income guarantees you a credit line of $400 to $10,000. Time is running out. Make this a Valentine's Day she'll never forget. Visit one of our showrooms today or online at prestigiojewelers.com.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At the UPS Store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open. And happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Alan Stiles wants to talk about a real feel-good story in the NBA. And I'm glad you did, because I'd seen something about this, but I'd missed that it was actually happening tonight, Alan. This is a great story.
Yes. So and it feels, time kind of gets a little wonky here, but Nicola Topic is available tonight and in line to make his debut versus the Bucks. If you are trying to remember why that name seemed familiar, he got drafted a couple years ago, and he had to miss time. What was it? Last year, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer.
First, he hurt his knee.
Yes.
When he was drafted, he was recovering, I think, from a major knee injury.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he came back, and it came out that something was going on down there, and it came out that it was testicular cancer, and he is back. Just 4 months after being diagnosed with testicular cancer, 20-year-old Nicola Topic is making his return.
Great.
Yeah. So I'm trying to double check here because obviously, those games start kind of during our show. Sometimes they play at 4:30. Obviously, the last game, it's at home. Last game before the All-Star break. The Bucks, I know Cam Thomas played well, but I would imagine they will definitely find a way to get him in. And honestly, I've just been seeing highlights, of course, but he's been kind of balling and he during the.
Isn't he a big point guard?
Yeah, during FIBA, he played pretty well with Jovic and Jokic because everybody had the jokes about their names. But I've seen some of the clips because of the comeback story, and he's nice, and he was playing well. This is obviously a feel-good story, but they're also bringing him up because the Thunder, obviously they're 42-13, but they're just trying to improve, and they think he can help.
Yeah. When that story first came out that there was something, he had an issue, was a testicular issue, I was wondering if that's what it was because I had that. Mm-hmm. So good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's very treatable, but obviously there's different types of it, but it's a little daunting. So good for him.
Right.
Yeah.
20 years old, world at your fingertips, and probably thinking, what the heck is going on? So I'm just glad that it is working out for him.
Yeah. If you ever have any reason to wonder about something like that, you're not sure, just get it checked.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I waited too long, and I had spread because of that. But anyway, you don't need to do anything about that except that, hey, get it checked, and if you have it, it's very treatable, and good for him. That's
good
awesome.
for him. Yeah, we will be keeping an eye on that. I'm sure all of the platforms will be all over it, so it should be a feel-good night as we get ready for the All-Star break.
Yeah. If I may, real quick, Al and I were just talking about this. The most scared I've ever been in my life was when I had to get some chemo, and I was actually, the doctor I had set me up like I was at Stanford, so I knew I was getting the best treatment, and they came in before my chemo started. I was terrified of chemo. I didn't know, it's like they poison the bad cells, but some of your good cells get affected. I was wired. I was amped. I was so nervous. They came in and they gave me a sedative so they could start. So they gave me the sedative and then put it in my IV. They come back in 10 minutes later, and I'll never forget the look on the nurse's face. She's like, oh, because I was wide awake.
Right.
And she's like, oh, we'll have to give you some more.
Jeez, man. I obviously, you were able to power through, Whitey, but it's a scared sense that I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
And again, the thing I always kept in mind for what I had, I was in a room with people getting chemo, and I looked around at them, and my prognosis was very positive, and theirs wasn't necessarily. And I always kept that in mind. Man, I was really lucky. So good for him.
Yes.
Good for him.
Yeah, a lot of things are relative, but it's scary nonetheless, and we're glad that he powered through. We're glad that you powered through.
Well, I appreciate that. Russ is powering through, isn't he? Didn't play last night, but some NBA players, you didn't like that one?
No, it was good. He's powering through.
Yeah. Do you know what pod this was? I apologize.
It was the Run It Back pod.
Okay.
On FanDuel.
Yeah. So it's first, I think it's Lou Williams asked the question, and then Chandler Parsons is. Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah. So they were talking on this pod about Russell Westbrook and what exactly is he doing with the Kings? We'll get that for you here. Yeah. Well, it got stuck there.
Got stuck.
Sorry about that. But I know this is kind of something that we've been kicking around, isn't it, about Russ? And
yes.
There's been talk about whether or not the Kings should, I don't know, buy him out.
I got more names while Jay's getting it. Milan Momkilovic.
Is that really his name? Is it that many moms, or did you just
No, Milo Momkilovic.
Every time you say it, it's a different name.
I'll work on it. We got the sound.
Lou Williams and Chandler Parsons on Russ.
You're a true fan of like the Sacramento Kings.
You could see.
I guess you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
No,
like,
you
okay,
don't.
I understand maybe next year. There's always next year.
Okay, how many years are you going to do that?
Well, Sacramento, and that's what I was going to say about Sacramento. A lot of these guys, they're two-way guys. They're not even going to be on the team next year anyway. So, like, the development and stuff of them, it doesn't matter because they're just good. The Kings would trade their entire team right now. Like, not named Murray and apparently this rookie.
If you're a guy like Russell Westbrook,
how the hell are you there? Asked to be bought out or waived or cut.
Get me out of here. Yeah, get me out of here.
He doesn't need the money. Like, get the hell out of there and go somewhere where at least you're valued and can compete to win.
Excuse me.
By the way,
you play basketball.
You're
it's very simple.
You're DeAndre Hunter.
You play basketball to win. There's 7 teams right now that are playing to lose.
On top of this,
that was, I believe that's Michelle Beadle too, right?
Yes.
She's very good.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was Lou Williams and Chandler Parsons. What are you doing there? You play
Get
basketball
out.
to win. Get out.
I got one number for you. Technically 2. 17 in 21. 17 shots in 21 minutes. And the Russell Westbrook fan club, Carmichael Dave is always placating to them right now. I love Russ. I'm not doing any of that, okay? I don't care.
You've already had kind of a history with him, though.
It's been a rough go. So at this point, keep getting mad at me. I don't care, all right? Because to me, it's very simple. Russell Westbrook likes what he's doing. Okay, now it's all about the mentor piece, and he's a great mentor. Don't get me wrong. But along the way, he is in a position where he gets to do something when he plays, and I know they're moving away from it a little bit, where he is getting to do something that he would not get to do on maybe any other team in the NBA. So either he is not wanted at all, or because the agents are checking in on this, right? We know that's how it goes. Or he is not wanted as much as he wants to be wanted. Hey, we'll bring you on, but I don't know how much time you're going to get, 10, 12, 10, 15 minutes, and we'll see where we go from there. So it's one of those two options, Whitey. So all these people, it's a different situation than DeMar DeRozan to me, but I personally think Russell Westbrook is enjoying this part. He's the same guy who there was some scrutiny from Stephen A. because a couple years back, Russell Westbrook said, I am a champion. To come where I came from and be where I'm at today, I am a champion. It doesn't really matter if I win a ring or not. And Stephen A. tried to basically compartmentalize it. Hey, we get that part of it. I'm talking about you as a basketball player. But that just gives you a brief look into where Russ's mind frame is. DeMar DeRozan, we were under the idea that he wanted to compete somewhere. That's why he came when De'Aaron was still here. We never really got that notion with Russell Westbrook. So we don't know if that's the case. So that, on top of maybe the idea that he's not going to get to go anywhere else in the league and do what he's doing, I think it's pretty clear why Russell Westbrook is still here. And look, I'm not saying whether it's good or bad, but I think it's pretty obvious why he's still here.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. They didn't address the possibility that, maybe there aren't a lot of teams. Maybe there are no other teams that actually want him, and he wants to play.
Yes.
And the Kings are where we are right now, like we've said. You do you.
Mm-hmm.
First team you've been on in many years, Russ. You do Russ.
Yes. It's okay.
Yes.
It's
it
okay.
Helps. We feel like it helps our young players to see that. So go get them.
Yeah.
So why would he want a buyout? Especially when chances are he wouldn't find anywhere to play.
If we look at some of the stars that, at the end of their career, I know this is a different sport, but LaShawn McCoy, who's running around. I think he might have 2 Super Bowl rings, but I know he's got at least one. LaShawn McCoy, I'm a Super Bowl champ. He didn't play at all. That's not what Russ wants. Russ wants to compete. He would rather be on this Kings team and compete at whatever level he feels like he's competing at.
He wants to play basketball.
Yes, than be the 10th man on a contender and just play or be in the playoffs, not necessarily play. So it's very obvious why Russell Westbrook is still here, and nobody is taking into account why that is.
Yeah, and I have to be honest here. I know when the Kings first signed him, I was assuming that it was probably driven by Vivek. I've talked to a person or two who would know who've said, no, this was a Scott Perry thing. I don't know that for a fact, but the more I think about it, I remember when Scott Perry was here before, and I think he would bring in guys like Zebo, and he would bring in, the situation was a little different, but still, George Hill, I think he brought in. Mm-hmm. So he does have a history of, in situations like this, bringing in veterans. So I could see how maybe it was a Scott Perry decision to, bring him in and set a tone for our younger guys. He's certainly done that.
Yes, he has. So, it's all fine and good. Like I said, that's a battle I am done fighting. But when people act like there's a deeper reason or it's confusing why Russ is still here, it is not confusing to me at all.
Wasn't it you, Alan, that when we had Jerry on, and by the way, Jerry Reynolds is going to join us top of the hour, wasn't it you that asked him about Russ, and didn't you say, I'm just going to enjoy it now?
Yes.
Yeah, and Jerry said, me too.
Right.
I'm not going to think about it or question it. It's like, enjoy the Russell Westbrook experience for what it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to the young guys that they do have, is he shooting a little too much? Maybe, but there's no point guard that they have lined up. Sorry, I don't think Isaiah Stevens is in their future plans. So if all the guys that they care about get enough time, let him do what he wants, I guess.
Well, here's what we want to do. Drive Guys want to make your Valentine's Day special with a chance to win a $50 gift card to Madison Avenue Florist for the perfect Valentine's Day bouquet. But wait, there's more. You also win a gift card for a dinner for 2 from Roosters on the River. And because we're not just any, midday show, we also have $100 to Gazetta Jewelers, Roseville's premier jewelry store for all your jewelry needs. So we're looking for lucky caller number. Alan, what do you think?
Let's go 3.
3. Caller 3, 916-339-1140 to win this Valentine's bundle from the Drive Guys. That's caller 3, 916-339-1140. When we come back, there is a way for the NBA to eliminate tanking, but does the league have the courage to embrace it? Good luck. We're right back. And Jerry, top of the hour 2, Drive Guys, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Yo, Palisades crew. Johnny Mosley here, blasting into your Thursday with the Toyota Tahoe report. The Toyota's locked and loaded, so let's swing open the door, peek at the conditions, and see what Mother Nature is serving up today.
Thanks, Johnny. Expect mostly sunny skies with a high near 46 degrees and light winds out of the northwest. Evening will dip down to 23 degrees. Dry conditions continue through Friday. This report is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Running a business takes grit, vision, and a partner who believes in your success as much as you do. At Valley Strong Credit Union, business banking is built around you. The entrepreneurs, the growers, the dreamers powering our community. Whether you need flexible checking, faster payments, or financing to take your next big step, Valley Strong brings local expertise and real relationships to every stage of your business. Because when local businesses thrive, the whole valley grows stronger. Valley Strong Credit Union. Grow your business, grow your future. ValleyStrong.com/business.
When the game's over, the action's just getting started. Check out what's coming up on the Sacktown Sports Live events calendar. On February 15th, R&B legends Jodeci bring the smooth harmonies to Hard Rock Live Sacramento. Then, February 27th, get ready to laugh as comedy greats Dana Carvey and David Spade hit the stage at Thunder Valley Casino Resort. The next night, February 28th, check out Chris Isaac live at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. A night of timeless hits in that signature style. Looking for high-energy action? March 7th, it's Thunder Showdown number 4 boxing at Thunder Valley. A fight night atmosphere packed with intensity. Then on March 15th, rock history rolls into town when Jefferson Starship performs live at Hard Rock Live Sacramento. Concerts, comedy, and fight nights that bring the energy. Find your next big event now on the Sacktown Sports Live Events calendar.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnoneauction.com.
Drive Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sacktown Sports.
I don't know. I think this may be some kind of violation, Alan. And, you know, we joke and we tease each other and listeners. People in the comments, they tease us and they tease me. Oh, you're so old. So here we were talking about Nicola Topic, and he has recovering from testicular cancer. Great. And I mentioned that, I had that. I recovered. Campio, and I love all our listeners. Campio says, sorry to hear all that, Whitey. Back in those days, it was rare in the 30s. So here I am saying, yeah, I had cancer, but I recovered. He's going, yeah, you're old. I mean, isn't that a little, isn't that a 15
I don't know what the line is. I mean, I don't know. Nowadays, I don't know what the line is. Feels like it's
yeah, you had cancer, but that's because you're old. Yeah. I don't know.
Nobody had it back then. Were you the first case?
I see you think it was pretty funny.
No, I don't. I don't. That's messed up. I first when you said it, I was confused as to what he meant.
So was I. Yeah. I was like, 30s. What does he mean? Is that a type
of in the 1930s?
Oh, 1930s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah, Jay, that's got to be a violation, doesn't it? Isn't that some kind of?
Yeah, that's cold game.
Yeah. Thank you.
I almost banned him from the chat, but we got love.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't mean it like that.
He meant it in a nice way?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Maybe
not
like
sure.
to break the kind of the odd tension, right? Like, oh, that's weird. Well, but you're really old. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to. You could have just, let the moment be the moment.
I know we were just talking about Russ and why he and the Kings haven't come to terms on a buyout. Coming up, we're going to have to talk about what Jason Anderson said today, right?
Yeah, I mean, he said again
on the Matt and Kayla show.
Yeah, in the midday show, he hopped on and basically said he spoke with DeMar, and DeMar said last night, and DeMar said it hasn't crossed his mind. And then he asked again and essentially said, "Does that mean it's not going to happen?" And from what I recall, DeMar basically just said, "As of right now, I haven't thought about it," which is on its face incredibly surprising.
What's news about that, though? We've heard that all season.
I think a lot of people now are wondering why he hasn't. Now that it's clear he's not going to be traded somewhere, and I know there's just a lot more people giving the opinion, sharing the opinion that for his sake they should grant him a buyout.
It's kind of the Russell Westbrook thing. A lot of people, quote unquote, feel bad for these guys.
Yeah, like, man, they're tanking and they're not going to be able to go anywhere because the trade deadline's over. Mm-hmm. Why doesn't the team just let them go? So Jason Anderson asked him. He's like, well, I haven't asked for one.
Well, it got to the point with me. I hit up the Digital Boys yesterday and I asked them, hey, am I missing something? And the only thing Brendan mentioned was the Kings, from their point of view, it's still a contract. And even though they haven't been able to trade him yet, if you lost him in that particular instance, obviously you wouldn't get anything back for him, even though so far he hasn't proven to have a ton of value. But with that being said, the idea is still the same idea. The Kings wouldn't say no. Hey, no, we want to hold on to your contract for value if he said, hey, let me out of here. So the idea that keeps getting thrown around with Russ and with DeMar, man, free these guys. The Kings should do the honorable thing unless we hear, which we won't, that the Kings say, no, we want to hold on to your contract for value, which would be crazy bad optics. So you just wouldn't do it. Stop sending that in because that's not what's happening here.
Right. It's a little overly simplistic to suggest this nasty team, they need to just let these guys be free.
Yes.
And there's also the issue, and I know I heard it on your show when you were doing the midday show, first place I heard it. There's also the issue of DeMar and his $10 million with kicker, or it's the guarantee, the partial guarantee for next year.
Right, the partial guarantee, and then he's got 14 waiting for him. So I don't know if that's the main reason he's, kind of holding out on it. But yeah, Jay, I would just say it was the first time we've heard from DeMar post All-Star break, because post trade deadline, because when that whole article came out, that was about the Kings side of it. We hadn't heard, that was the Kings saying, hey, we're not going to approach him about it. We hadn't heard DeMar and where his head was at. And it seems like it's not even about, I don't know if DeMar was being fully transparent, but the idea that they haven't checked in with anyone, that's kind of crazy.
Well, Scott Perry said last Friday, we expect our veterans to be with us. And then, so he's checked with one of the veterans, and he's like, I haven't asked for it. So it sounds like everyone's on the same page there.
I'd say this, and I understand it's our job as the media to dive deep and to figure out what's real, what's fake, why we haven't heard any of this. I just think this, when you come to players and we're talking about guys that are on social media, and we more now than ever, would you guys agree, we understand or at least get a synopsis of what players are thinking, how they feel, the way they move, they will operate. You talked about Kevin Durant and how he gets down social network. I think sometimes, and it's funny because I just saw somebody say this, and they were kind of tongue-in-cheek, 5 to real. I can't believe you guys have to make up BS stories for the next 2 months. Then he talks about hopefully the A's and Giants will do well, Godspeed. Part of my thing with a lot of this is...
What's the made-up story?
I guess making a bigger deal.
No. What he is saying is, and I don't know, I can't answer for him, but I think the angle is this. Sometimes we as media dive into stuff that is plain and straight into view. If DeMar wanted out, you don't think we would have heard that by now? Not from the Kings. We'd have heard from Aaron Goodwin. We'd have heard from Goodwin Sports. We'd have heard from DeMar DeRozan. He's been the type of person that's been forthcoming and definitely outright about how he feels. And so my thing is I understand what you're saying, Alan, is this is the first time technically DeMar DeRozan is put on record that he doesn't want to be traded. I'm here to say we'd have been known if he wanted to be cut by now. We would have been known if he wanted to be a buyout. So that's my thing where it's like, what else is new? Yeah. There's nothing new to that. Because if DeMar wanted out, we'd have heard Chandler Parsons say it. We'd have heard Mark Spears come out. Anthony Slater would have been said it. Allen would have had the inside. Whitey, you would have found out.
Chris Haynes.
Everybody would have knew that. So to me, it's not a big thing. And that's where it's like I understand the Kings season is not where we need to be, but I also think we need to do ourselves as the media justice in the fact of like we're hunting and pecking at stuff that we know the answer. And as a fan,
I don't think so, Jay.
Let's see. Okay, why not? Why don't you think we know the answer?
Because it made sense to assume that he might want a buyout. It made sense for most of us to think if I was him, I'd want a buyout. It made sense to think, especially after he had the incident where he threw the water bottle, hey, he deserves a buyout. So for Jason Anderson to ask him, I think that's I don't think that's making stuff up. It's like he says he hasn't asked for one.
Well, I'm not saying making stuff up. I use that as an example of someone saying as a fan, look, right now is a difficult time in the NBA for 7, 8, 9 teams who are trying to figure something else out. What I'm saying to you is this. As we do this on a daily basis, you guys do great research on a daily basis. We talk to people every single day. We've got numerous sources. I'm just here to say if DeMar DeRozan wanted a buyout, his camp wanted a buyout, believe me, fellas, we'd have been knew that. There wouldn't have been no question in that. Now that doesn't detour Jason Anderson from doing his job, but I'm saying that's not the first question I asked. I said, what's new about this?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing new about that. We knew that. And if there was something different, I believe we would have knew that too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't know that he still felt that way after the deadline.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the clarity.
Yeah, I think for me, the idea of stretching something out begins now. I think that this was the first kind of note to the baseline of, okay, we're talking to you after the water bottle throw. We're talking to you after the trade deadline. Hey, DeMar, where is your head at? He clears it up. Honestly, I haven't thought about it. Jason Anderson says, basically, are you sure? Or, could that change? DeMar says, I don't really know. Now from there is where the media has to be careful to stretch this thing out. Right now, obviously, national media, I don't know how much they're paying attention, but as far as local media is concerned, that story now it is done now. I don't know if it was done prior to the conversation. Jay, it might be more of context clues, but we have it on record now, so it's dead for now
until it changes.
Yeah,
right. And
there's no need to ask him about it again.
And that's, to me, that's what the whole narrative of what I'm asking is, and that's what I started with, fellas. What's new? There was nothing new to that. No one outside of anywhere, no one within DeMar's camp or him has come out and said, I want out of here. For me, as an onlooker, as a fan, I'm just looking at it from a fan standpoint now. I'm taking my media hat off. We would have heard this down the road. We've heard the Kings position, which you talked about, Alan. And that's the thing as a fan is, okay, we're talking about something that we all know.
Yeah.
We truly know it. In the way we live sports and the way we see it, if DeMar wanted out, man, come on. DeMar would have came on our show and said, hey, yo, I want to get out of here.
Yeah. And
Russ, I want to get out of here.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, which is funny because we, kind of talk about how this thing can turn into you ask a CEO, hey, are there going to be layoffs? They're not going to say yes. I don't think DeMar would have broken it to Jason. So
it's a funny thing you say that, Jason.
Right? Yeah,
I
just said,
I wasn't going to tell anybody, but you asked me, so I got to tell you.
I am asking for a buyout, and we got breaking news.
I got to tell you. Jerry Reynolds joins us when we come back to Sacktown Sports.
Visit SacktownSports.com and join the Sacktown Sports 1140 newsletter.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
It's Carmichael Dave wanting you to join Capital Casino every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. in a safe, friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy plates, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
At the UPS Store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time.
and still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open and happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Welcome to the Bar None Auction.
Bar None Auction is selling thousands of items this Saturday, February 14th in Sacramento. Large framing and construction equipment, cars, trucks, and industrial supplies, all sold to the highest bidder. Always open to the public. Visit barnoneauction.com.
KHD KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Live and local, it's The Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sacktown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sacktown Sports app.
What do you think of this here, Alan? Jerry Reynolds is going to join us in just a moment from Band to the Young. Jerry Reynolds is like a chocolate-dipped ice cream cone, good anytime, rain or shine.
That is exactly how I would describe Mr. Reynolds.
Though he also adds that everyone knows the end of the ice cream cone is the best part, especially on drumsticks. Sometimes the chocolate, I don't know, they put extra chocolate down there or something.
I love it. I'm an ice cream sandwich guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know that it depends on what kind you get? Some ice cream sandwiches, if you look at the box, and we're getting ready to bring Jerry on, don't worry. You're not listening to the Carmichael Dave Show. But if you look at the box, it doesn't say ice cream sandwich.
What does it say?
Like dessert sandwich or something. You might want to check your box. I noticed this, and it was for a pretty good brand. It's like ice cream sandwich. You look at the box, like it doesn't actually say ice cream anywhere on here.
You know what? You brought up
like
something.
Frozen dessert sandwich or something like that.
Well, you brought up something, and I'm not going to get into it now, but you brought up something. When I moved out here, it was a huge controversy, the types of Girl Scout cookies that are delivered out here versus in the Bay Area.
We'll get back to it.
Today's not the day for it.
Once again, I don't know if he heard this. Jerry, welcome to the show. Band to the Young on the YouTube chat says, Jerry Reynolds is like a chocolate-dipped ice cream cone, good anytime, rain or shine. How does that make you feel?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, I don't know why there'd be some discussion on that.
That's right. That's right. Anything to avoid talking about the team as well, Jerry. You have seen and you've been up close for some of the more challenged Kings teams. This team's lost 14 in a row. Is it possible we're looking here at the most talent-challenged squad in the history of the Sacramento Kings?
Well, it's not the least talented at all.
Yeah.
There's been several teams that have less talent. Now, it certainly doesn't seem to fit very well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that can be, the record would kind of indicate that.
Mm-hmm.
The old saying, I can speak with certainty, I think, that this franchise currently does not have its ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
These ducks are going all which ways. but from a standpoint, it certainly is more talented than several teams I can think of that had pretty bad records. But here's I just thinking of one thing, the good news. The last time a team lost 14 in a row, I think it was, or maybe 13, was the Cincinnati Royals, and they had won 19 games, and they got Oscar Robertson. So, and then they won 33 games next year, 4-game improvement. So maybe it'll be something. They're not going to get Oscar because he's pretty old, but
he'd help, Jerry. I think he still would help, don't you?
I guarantee you he'd improve the guard play. He would at 85 or 6. He would improve it.
Yeah.
Jerry, we're talking about, tanking and the culture, and Scott Perry's talked a lot about building the culture. When you have a rough season, and this season is historically bad, how easy is it to simply turn the page going into the next season as if this season never happened? Are we in a danger zone to where this could seep into next season, or once you get into training camp this year in a new season, will everything kind of wash away and we hit the reset button and last season was last season? Is that really how it works, or when it's that bad, could it maybe roll over a little bit?
Well, it's going to roll over till you start playing better and winning. It's there. You can't deny it. Now the roster will change, and so there'll be a lot of different players, or not a lot, but some different players and all that. So, but yeah, it's no different than, say, other teams of the past that ended on a bad note. I go back to the 98 Kings, which lost, I think, 12 or 13 in a row at the end of the year. And but the team, basically did change itself, but it had to start winning some games, for people and the players themselves to decide they were different, and of course there was a lot of things different at the start of the next year. But you can use the Detroit Pistons as a good example. They've been through quite a few just terrible years, and they got number 1 pick, Cade Cunningham, finally, and they didn't turn it around. It took several years past that. Last year they finally got it turned. I think they're about their 5th year of tankdom, and so yeah, it's with you until it's not. You can't just wish it away and platitudes and we're going to change the culture. Well, the culture doesn't change until you win. That's all. Simple as that. It's not simple, but you can talk about changing the culture, but it doesn't change until you win games.
How difficult is it, Coach, to evaluate your coach, your players, your young players, anybody in this type of environment where some other teams you're playing are not putting their best foot forward? So how do you even know how your young players and your inexperienced coach are even developing?
I think it's really tough. I just think it's one of those things. You want your young guys to play as much as they can, and you hope you can evaluate them accurately. But as you pointed out, and you guys know, it's tough. You're going out there and getting beat, and your young guys are playing, and sometimes they're putting up pretty good stats. But, you always have to be wary of stats and losing games, and especially against teams that aren't trying to win. That's even less important. And so it can be a fooler because you're wanting to find, and I think that's what I think you're trying to find, is which of these guys, these younger players going forward, what role can they have on a winning team? Can they be main guys on a winning team? Can they be eighth men on a winning team? And that's what you really need to know, because at some point I would assume the goal is to have a significantly winning team, and a lot of the rookies now, or the young players, is like, they look like they're NBA players, but what level? And like what they need actually is Oscar Robertson, and they don't, they need a major star that, in my mind, they don't have.
Yeah, Jerry, you just mentioned it, and I'm hoping you can maybe go a little bit deeper. Some people are going back and forth about the young guys, and, well, we don't really know how good they actually are. How confident are you in the young players and which young players to be mainstays in this league, and which ones, Jerry?
Well, I can't say I'm confident in any of them that they're going to be total mainstay guys you build around.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen enough of, I think, of Cardwell and Reynaud. I like them. I think they're players. I think you can have them. I think they got a chance to be on a winning team. Now, what roles? That's what I wouldn't say for sure. It's hard to project any of those guys that far forward. I mean, Clifford has shown moments where looks like he's a player and moments where he looks like he isn't, and same way with Carter. But I guess I'm not trying to dodge a question. I think that there's just not enough information to say, can this guy, any of these guys, be third or fourth men on a 50-win team? Mm-hmm. And to me, that's always the gauge. What are you doing if it's not going to be a 50-plus win team? Well, which of these guys could play on one and play significant minutes on one? And right now, I don't think you can say any of them for sure.
Yeah.
And you're hoping to find that out here in the last 25 games.
To that point, Jerry, my opinion, I've been rooting for this guy, but last night, if you look at the numbers, Devin Carter made his first start and he scored 19 points, but I watched the game. I didn't think he played that well. He's 4 for 13. He was 1 for 6. So, again, that's an example of how the numbers can be a little deceiving in this environment.
Well, they are. I mean, especially, in losing games, like we've said, every losing team has a leading scorer and a leading rebounder. That doesn't necessarily mean those are a lot of times empty stats. Mm-hmm. The old saying, a 15-point guy on a 65-win team is probably a lot better player than a 15-point guy on a 17-win team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's agents never seem to understand that, but I'm pretty sure that's the way I see it. So it's a little bit. It's like Carter. I agree with you, Whitey. I mean, I like his aggressiveness. He's tough. He competes, but you're looking at him as a guard, who can make teammates better and make plays, and he hasn't really shown what you want there or shooting ability. But he's young and he's too, you can't give up on him, but what level of player he can be, like I say, I think he's shown that he's an NBA player. Is he an NBA rotation player on a winner? Is he could be a starter on a winner? Well, he's a long way from proving that, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Jerry, we're to the point now where because of the wins stacking up, I think people are turning some of their anger to Doug Christie. How would you evaluate Doug Christie right now? Obviously, kind of a tough situation for him, but how would you evaluate Doug Christie and kind of how he's handled this bizarre season that we're witnessing?
Yeah, I think it's almost impossible. I mean, I don't know what directions he's been given. Certainly.
I'm sorry, Coach. We're losing you. You're breaking up a little bit. That was a good question too, Alan. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. We got you now. We got you. Nope. You're cutting in and cutting out on us. Sorry. Yeah. Jay's going to see if we can't get a better connection. Way to go, Alan. That is a good question. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good question.
It just broke the connection. Mm-hmm. So strong of a question.
Jerry, do we have you there, sir?
Well, I hear you guys good. Like I say, I was telling Jay, I said I'm out here in Verizon, Roseville. I don't know if that's what's going on here.
We got you.
I pay my bills. That's all I know.
All right. Well, thank you. Alan, go ahead and ask your question again. Yeah, about Coach Christie. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the question about Coach Christie. Yeah, I think it's it's really tough to evaluate. I mean, because I don't know what directions he's given from up above, and I mean, clearly when you're Sabonis and guys like that, you're not playing your best players, so you're certainly not going to win as many games or look as good. And certainly, by playing young guys, you're wanting to find out what they can do. Well, they're not equipped to win consistently, so it's pretty hard to judge a coach based on that. I thought last year, when he took over a team that was pretty well somewhat formed from Mike Brown and the players they had, and he made them better, and that was what you're supposed to do. And this year, it just went off the rails day one.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I'm biased toward Doug, so I would certainly feel like he ought to have another year to at least have a little fairer chance.
You'd appreciate this, I think, Coach. One of the last times the Cincinnati Royals lost 14 straight, I was looking this up because I was wondering who they drafted. I know you mentioned once they got Oscar Robertson, but one year they lost 14 straight. The next year in the draft, they didn't have a draft pick because they'd used a territorial pick on Nate Williams. I'm sure you know him very well, but my question is really about the draft. Again, I know we ask you this every time you come on. What are you making? Are you still a Darren Peterson guy, or is the fact that he's missed some games here, are you starting to wonder about whether he'd be worth the first pick?
Boy, I'm getting shaky. Whitey. I'm telling you. I know I'm convinced he's the best talent, but, boy, sure seems like some point you got to, if you're going to count on a guy for 82 games, he's got to be able to trot out there more than half of his college games, doesn't he?
You'd think, yeah. But he is, when he plays well, he definitely looks like the best player to me.
Oh, he looks like he could be a difference maker. And so I guess you don't have to draft now, so that's why I think the end of the season in the college game and workouts and things like that will be even more important in evaluating a guy like him. I mean, you just got to have a lot more information about what you think health-wise and maybe mentally, if quite honestly, is he a little soft? Is he, if he's a little soft in college, it's not going to get easier for him the next step. So I'm wavering. That's all I got to say, Whitey. I'm sorry. I've been flopping around here a little bit. I do think he's the most talented of the, and maybe most pro ready as a talent. But I'd like for a guy for the Kings, they need a guy who's going to be ready to step on the court and play 35 minutes game one.
So if it's not him, though, it's DeBonsa for you right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and you saw where Caleb Wilson's hurt and probably out for the year from North Carolina. They're probably one of the top four. So it's the draft is not a sure thing. I mean, that's the thing, and the Kings have to get the right guy, and he has to develop properly. Just Cooper Flagg's a great example, a terrific young player, the right pick, terrific, and Dallas is where they are, right?
Yep.
So the way that you're going to be able to get one of these players is obviously having a bad record, Jerry. And there's all this tank talk, of course, with the All-Star break, no games going on, so even more reason to talk about it. Where do you fall on the tank talk conversation? Have you ever seen anything like what the Jazz have pulled off, pulling out some of their – they didn't have to do it last night, but against some other teams pulling out their stars, to get the loss?
Yeah, sadly, I've seen it a lot, and to what you can do about it, because as we've talked to, the players themselves that are on the court are going to try to win, but that's where coaches and front offices play the game, taking out their best players and they're not playing their best players and things, and I only thing I could think of, with the league, and they've tried to equalize it a lot, when you really. The team with the worst record hadn't got the top pick consistently at all. due to things. So they've done a lot what they can do, but short of really having a league doctors or something go around and basically say, these guys are healthy, play them, or you'll lose your pick or lose picks, and besides lots of money. I mean, I do think the league needs to, show some real concern there. I mean, they're concerned, but to have a penalty. But then again, when we haven't seen anything looks like a penalty come down on the Clippers, I mean, so I don't know. David Stern isn't the commissioner anymore, fellas. I just wanted you to know that in case you forgot.
Didn't you kind of have a rough episode with Commissioner Stern one time, Jared?
One time. Yeah. He explained to me how it was going to work, and so I shut up and dribbled from then on, and yes, Well, I mean, like I say, I mean, he was, I think, a great commissioner, but certainly he could be a very intimidating man.
Okay, not to be trifled with, and neither is Jay.
Not to be trifled with.
Yeah.
And like I say, I think a lot of what's going on now is too much trifling going on. How's that?
Yes. I know, Jay, you have your throwback question today.
Yeah. I actually, I don't watch a lot of television, right? And so when I do watch TV, it's normally for something, unless I'm sitting with my wife or my daughter, it's something that I'm really interested in. Whitey sent something a couple days ago about the ABA and Dr. J showcasing this new series or docu
on Netflix. It debuts tonight. Soul Power.
Man,
yeah.
I'm super excited about that. One of the things that I've always wondered about the ABA is the transition of Dr. J and how great he truly was. That's one question for me, because I've heard so many people say he's like the forgotten star. Before Magic, before Bird, it was Dr. J that carried the logo. Obviously, he carried two different logos. With that being said, what's the most, if you take anything away from the ABA, Jerry, what's the one thing you take away from the ABA?
Well, I really think that, the ABA really made the game a lot more exciting. The three-point shot, that's where it came in. Obviously Dr. J, George Gervin, players like that, that's where they got their start, kind of, and they were so much fun to watch. I got to tell you a story about Dr. J. And I may have told this before, but I saw Dr. J and Pete Maravich playing on the Atlanta Hawks.
Wow.
People say, well, that didn't happen. I said, yes, it did. Atlanta, Dr. J was signed by the Hawks during the summer or during a preseason, and he and Pistol played 2 games. I saw one in person at Georgia Tech Stadium, when that's where the Hawks used to play, and before the league rescinded the contract, and then, as we know, went on to play. And of course, Doctor was, he was truly great. I mean, he was a breathtaking player that really was the guy in the ABA, and then of course came to the league and NBA and was the most exciting player in the league for years, until Jordan probably came along, really, as far as just pure excitement. But he and Pistol, and I want to tell you, people say, well, I don't know how good they've been together. I guarantee you, I saw it in the preseason game. They were fabulous. I mean, it's just, my God, Pete would, throw a full court hook pass, and Doc could catch it in one stride and dunk it, with one step from half court or something. He was amazing. And of course, I worked a summer league camp with Dr. J, and Gervin was in it too. And he was just such a great guy, just class. And I always remember the exhibition he put on for the kids, where he took one dribble from half court and dunked.
Come on, Jerry! Wow.
Yes. Well,
One dribble?
One dribble.
Where was the dribble at? You remember? What part of the floor?
Well, he started. He pushed it out there a little bit. It was still one dribble. You can say whatever you want to about me. I saw it. I witnessed it, and so there's that.
That's incredible.
And so he was incredible. That's exactly right. You know, the thing that probably, if he'd been a great shooter, that he might have been the best ever. But the one thing that struck me, one thing about him was the same thing with Jordan. His hands were so huge, you know, that he could just hold the ball like it's a softball. And so that's why nobody could ever block his shot, because he could just keep moving it around. You know, Jordan was like that. So anyway, I probably told you more than you wanted to know, but Jay, I'll tell you what, there was the league. That league was fun. I saw a lot of the Indiana Pacers that time and the Kentucky Colonels. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It was.
Yeah, Coach, you've told me the story about Julius Erving and Pete Maravich before, but I could hear it every day. It's such a great story, and I still.
Oh, those two guys. I mean, you talk about two guys ahead of their times. I mean, and both of them would be major stars today. I don't care what J.J. Redick says or whatever anybody else says. You know, if he thinks, you know, it's like the old thing people say, well, like with Bird, they say, well, he was too slow or whatever. Have you watched Jokic?
Yeah.
And Luka? I mean, Larry's more athletic than either one of them.
Oh, yeah. We appreciate it very much. I hope you get a chance to see that show on Netflix.
Oh, I'm going to. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, Jay's right there, man. That I can't wait. And that was a marvelous time and really great for the NBA. And so anyway, yeah, that's one thing about me, fellas. I'm sorry. I got too many stories, and I'll just have to hold them in. I'm busting loose.
No. Yeah, we just don't have enough time for them. Thank you, Coach.
Well, it's probably a good thing. All right.
We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, I never get tired of that story.
That's
Can
a
you
good
imagine
one.
that?
No, I really can't.
Yeah, well, Julius Erving was in the ABA, and he just signed with the NBA, and the ABA sued, and the court said, you got to go back. But for 2 games, he played with Pete Maravich.
Man.
Yeah.
That's box office, right?
Yeah. Sacramento Kings Lottery Watch when we come back to Sacktown Sports.
Malik Monk plays here.
Started left, goes right, steps back, launches the 3. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Okay, guys, who is done with their Valentine's Day shopping? What are you waiting for? Stop putting off your Valentine's Day shopping and go to Prestigio Jewelers today.
She's right. Prestigio Jewelers has everything you need for Valentine's this year. And you're approved guaranteed. No credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy? 6 months proof of income guarantees you a credit line of $400 to $10,000. Time is running out. Make this a Valentine's Day she'll never forget. Visit one of our showrooms today or online at prestigiojewelers.com.
A's fans, the 2026 season is coming fast, and single game tickets are on sale now. Be there for an exciting season packed with theme days, giveaways, and firework nights, including bobbleheads, jerseys, hats, and much more. And getting in is easier than ever. Tickets start at just $8 for select April and May games. From opening day to unforgettable summer nights, there's something for everyone at the ballpark. Get your tickets today at athletics.com/tickets and be part of the excitement this 2026 season.
Progressive Insurance knows pets, and one of the biggest differences between people and pets is that we don't eat things off the floor. But dogs definitely will, and it makes them so happy, no matter what it looks like, smells like, or what state of decomposition it's in. We all want to go through life that carefree, and that's also why you should get Progressive Pet Insurance, because they eat things off the floor. So protect your pet from all the questionable life decisions they make. You know where they drink from when you're gone, right? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram in Woodland. Chad, what's going on for Ram Truck Month?
Get the new Ram you want at the most affordable price I've seen in years. You can lease a new 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie for as low as $399 a month for 39 months. That's $13,000 off MSRP on a brand new 2026 Ram truck.
Whoa, $399 a month? That feels like it can't be real.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive how we've been able to find all this savings. As a fifth-generation family-owned dealer, our goal has always been, and continues to be, to serve our customers and save them as much as possible.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$13,000 total net savings on select new 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie after $5,000 factory rebate and $7,000 dealer discounts. Rebates may include $2,000 select inventory cash on select inventory. $399 special lease with $29.95 due at signing plus tax, license fees, and dealer accessories. Must finance through Stellantis. 7,500 miles per year, 30 cents per mile over for well-qualified buyers with 720 plus FICO score. Sample VIN 179-105. MSRP 68,125. See dealer for details.
The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Yeah, I'm wearing my ABA shirt today, one of them in honor of the Soul Power, which is on tonight. And I know, you might think, oh, ABA, was a long time ago, boring. But the ABA could not afford to be boring, Alan. That's the whole point. A lot of the things that are in pro basketball now started in the ABA. So if you get a chance to watch that, you might enjoy it. Soul Power on Netflix.
All right. I got it on the list. Okay, like I said, I'm solo this week.
Oh, that's right.
If they stay asleep, I might have an opportunity to watch.
Are you feeling better about where the Kings are in the lottery standings now? It's hard to feel good about the way the team is playing, 12-44, but that means now they are 3.5 games clear of Washington for worst place. 3.5 games up. And then you've got New Orleans 3 games back of there. So the Kings are like 6.5 games clear for one of the bottom 3 spots.
Right.
That's good.
But in your mind, you're just saying, hey, be in this position so you just get a top pick. You're acknowledging that obviously having the worst record will not necessarily, it'll put you in a decent spot, but there's a good chance that you're not getting number 1. It's not necessarily about getting number 1 to you. It's just ensuring that you get a top 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
do think
that's what I've taken from our conversations.
I do think it's important, especially now sitting where you're sitting, to end up with the worst record.
Yes.
Don't you?
Yes. I mean, you're building some, because I don't know if the league, I know Sam Amick was on the morning show and said the league is preparing, to make some changes. Again, this just stinks the same way the 65 game rule. It just stinks of you're going to do something and then it's just going to be too late. Right? You're doing something, you're fixing something based on Kawhi and Joel Embiid. You're fixing something based on a historic 2026 draft season, and you're going to have this stupid rule that's not really going to matter moving forward until there's another Victor Wembanyama running around. Because I don't even remember it being this egregious for Victor Wembanyama. I think it's because people thought it's just one player, it's the luck of the draw. It's this specific situation. So even if there is another Victor Wembanyama hanging around, people are going to probably try to get them, but they know we're talking about number 1 versus your thought process, Whitey. I think a lot of people are just trying to get into that clump to get a top 5 player.
Yeah, and I just think it's vitally important for the Kings.
Yes.
Given all the challenges they face with the roster and how desperate they are to try to find a guy. And like Kristen Peak told us today, if you end up top 5, you still got a shot.
Yeah.
Even if you're 4th or 5th, you still got a shot at getting your guy.
Yeah, that's up on YouTube now, so go check it out if you happen to miss it. Kristen Peak, draft analyst for NBA.com. And it was outstanding, and we hope to have her on again. Some text came in saying talking about how good she was. Whitey, speaking of the number 5.
Yeah.
Earlier in the show, you said last night was the first time in a while you felt something for De'Aaron Fox, how well he's been playing.
Really missed him.
Well, I don't know if this is going to help you. The San Antonio Spurs star De'Aaron Fox has replaced Giannis Antetokounmpo in the 2026 NBA All-Star Game.
Hey, now, you're an All-Star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yep.
I saw somebody today, I forget where it was. Somebody, for some reason, decided to regrade the trade.
Oh, goodness. They sound like Kyle.
Yeah.
Just give it a break,
Yeah.
man.
So the Kings got, I think, a D, and Spurs got a A, and even the Bulls got like
the Bulls
a B.
get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just let it go? Let it go.
It's hard.
over.
You're right. You should let it go.
I'm not saying Kings fans. I think Kings fans are trying to let it go, but it's just, again, just poking.
Well, even
you know?
Brad Miller was on the podcast with Mike Bibby.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie House, I think, is on that pod.
Yeah.
And he said, it's just too bad. You got a guy like De'Aaron Fox, and he played in Kentucky and Sacramento, smaller market, and it's kind of like that, and they embraced him. And then, and this, we all know it was a year ago, but even for Brad Miller, it's like, it's hard to get over, Alan.
Yeah, again.
You don't have any choice, but it's hard to get over.
Got to get through this season. And I mean this as respectfully as possible. This season can't end soon enough because the healing can actually begin. I talked about the Jazz when they made their big trade. Some of these teams, the Grizzlies, I guess, made 2 big trades with Desmond Bane and now Jaren Jackson. Funny enough, Ja Morant wasn't involved. But these teams that make these big trades, right, and it starts the healing process. A lot of the teams that have done it, or they've just kind of stunk, or the OKC when they moved on from Paul George. We have not, as Sacramento, have not been able to start the healing yet because of Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan. It hasn't started yet. So all this stuff is going to feel worse. If you get Darren Peterson, and hopefully he is who everybody thinks that he is, same with DeBanza. If De'Aaron Fox, obviously they win a championship, that would be annoying. But if he, all-star next season, hey, good for him. We've moved on.
Yeah.
We've moved on.
Yeah, it reminds me, there's a friend I have. He's in broadcasting. I don't want to share this because it involves injuries, but a while ago, and he's fine now. He's fine. Mm-hmm. But he had injured his neck. He had a fall, like on vacation in the water or something, and he hurt his neck. And he was doing shows, and couldn't move his head. And he was telling me, I got x-ray. Eventually had surgery, and he's fine now. But he said, my neck really hurts here. He said, the doctor says it's really messed up on the other side. But he said, it's so messed up over here, I don't feel this one. He said, if it was okay here, he said, you would really be in pain from that one. But he had so many.
Yeah.
And that's kind of as a Kings fan.
Right.
Luka, De'Aaron, Halliburton. It's just like, there's just so many body blows that you're still recovering from.
Right. And at least if you get a top 5 pick, it can help one. It can kind of not eliminate one of them, but it'll make you feel better. About one of them. I don't think the Luka thing is ever going to go away, but I think there's something where people at least feel like, hey, at least we're holding out hope for when Luka wins a championship.
Well, the mismanagement of the Mavs has made, I think, Kings fans feel a little better about it.
Yeah.
It's like, man, we never got him. They had him, and they still botched it.
Exactly. And I think you might have been the one to bring up, nobody talks about the Hawks. And I know they went to a couple, one Eastern Conference Finals with Trey, but, they missed on him too. And DeAndre Ayton, the Suns.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about that either.
Right.
So that one, we're getting there. The De'Aaron Fox one is obvious. The Halliburton one is a tough one. The De'Aaron Fox one, I do think because De'Aaron was an interesting case and he wasn't going to be the guy. It's not like he left it to be the guy somewhere else. He's a really elite number 2. If you can get your guy, I think that one will feel a bit better. You got to go to a playoff run with him.
You'd always said that about him, and I think you were right.
Yeah, you could eliminate. You could at least eliminate that one. You still got the others, but you could eliminate that one.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mr. Giants fan, Mr. Host of a Giants pod, right?
That's right.
Yeah. There's a guy just became available. It's got some pop. Might be a good fit for the Giants. Nick Castellanos, released by the Phillies today after the team was unable to make a deal to trade him. So should be pretty cheap, Alan. Castellanos revealed he was benched last season after bringing a beer into the dugout during a game.
It's crazy.
Yeah. He's still owed $20 million going into the final season of a 5-year, $100 million contract. Phillies will owe the entirety of that sum minus a prorated portion of the league minimum. He was benched last season. He made what the manager, Rob Thompson, described as an inappropriate comment after he was pulled for a defensive replacement in Miami. Castellanos says, after being taken out of a close ball game in front of my friends and family, I brought a Presidente into the dugout. I then sat right next to Rob and let him know that too much slack in some areas and too tighter restrictions in others was not conducive to winning. He said his teammates.
Who is he telling this to?
This was, let's see, he wrote
Why
this
is he
today?
saying this?
Yeah. Well, he's trying to explain everything. He posted a handwritten note on social media. He said he brought beer into the dugout after being taken out of a game and complained to Thompson about team rules. He said teammates took the beer away before he drank any. What do you think? You interested? Los Gigantes?
No.
No?
Number one, I think that Phillies, and I know a lot of friends of mine that
17 homers last year.
None when they mattered. That guy doesn't do anything when it matters. He had a nice, I think, 2-game stretch in the playoffs. Now, granted, nobody on the Phillies did anything when it mattered. That's why they can't get it done.
He's got that kind of character you like, doesn't he?
No. Now, you actually do hit on something about being, the Giants trying to be the bad boys with Vitello.
There you go.
This is a little too bad. This is not, there's a difference between bat flipping and
we aired out our differences, and the conversation ended with me apologizing for letting my emotions get the best of me.
Just what the Giants need, another terrible outfielder. No thank you. No thank. And how old is he?
He's he's
too old to be
34,
doing that.
but I think he's a youngish 34.
No, you're too old to be acting like that. No thank you. No, thank you.
I think you have to admire the way he's come out and said, look, my bad, and here's what happened, and I never drank the beer that I took into the dugout during the game.
Sometimes when people admit things, they admit it in a certain way that doesn't make me feel as if you wouldn't do something like that again. Wow. You're telling me what happened, but I don't believe that you're not going to do it again. Whitey, it doesn't matter now.
I appreciate him for being a stand-up guy on the whole thing.
No, he's not my type of guy. It doesn't matter now, Whitey. Bryce Eldridge is taking fly balls in left field. So this lineup is about to be completely unlocked. Do you understand that? Unlocked, Whitey. Completely unlocked. So we don't need Castellanos.
Going to have to score a lot of runs with that defense.
And by the way, we'd need some type of tragedy for Castellanos to do something. That's the only time he hits a home run, and I don't want that. So no thank you. I don't think he's Buster's type of guy. From what I heard, that was part of the reason they weren't fully in on Framber Valdez because of the cross-up situation. So if
I
they
remember
don't
that. I was out on that too.
If they don't want to deal with that, bringing an adult bevy into a dugout, come on now.
Yeah. What do you think, Jay? We'll get Jay Sauce. Jay's a baseball guy. He brings it.
Why are you saying it like that? Hey, it's just a lot.
Jay understands. Guy is mad at the manager, brings a can of beer into the dugout.
Sound like my type of team.
No. Get that guy out of here, man.
Sounds like my type of squad. I need to be a part of that.
If he was balling last season, the 17 home runs is fine. 17 home runs is about 12 at Oracle Park.
Fits right into what the Giants lineup looks like.
No.
250, 17 big flies.
250 is not bad.
Drove in 72.
What's the OPS?
I don't have it here. I have to check for it, but I'm happy to do that.
If they didn't show it, it ain't worth showing. So no thank you. Take him and his Modelo, whatever it was.
Presidente.
Get the heck out of here.
Top flight.
Yeah.
What was they? Why are they in the? They're in the locker room. What's going on here?
He just wanted to come out and talk to the manager. He's already out of the game.
That's bad. Well, okay. So what is worse, that or the Framber thing?
Well, we'll get to that when we come back. Also, we'll tell you about maybe the worst thing a general manager has ever said, and it just happened. Back with that, and we'll wrap things up. Sacktown Sports.
The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles on Sacktown Sports 1140. Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at SacktownSports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sacktown Sports 1140.
Catch all the action at Sky River Casino. Enjoy over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and a thrilling high-limit room. Plus, with 18 elevated restaurants, bars, and lounge destinations, and Sky River rewards that add up and up. There's something for everyone. Just minutes from Sacramento, right off Highway 99 in Elk Grove. Join in the fun and experience new heights. Sky's the limit at Sky River Casino. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left?
I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that?
My thinning hair is making me feel so old.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier-looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume.
Since taking Hair Volume, the shedding has all but stopped.
Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine.
My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too.
Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Capital Casino, conveniently located on 411th North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
It's Carmichael Dave wanting you to join Capital Casino every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. in a safe, friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
At the UPS Store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time, and still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open and happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
Coach Christie here for Folsom Lake Ford, letting you know the President's Day Sell-a-thon is on. And with your approved credit, get 0% financing plus 0 down on select new Fords. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford today. FolsomLakeFord.com. Interest accrues from date of purchase.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
We've got some breaking news on the NBA cracking down on tanking. Everybody's been talking about it. What's the NBA actually doing about it, Alan?
Yeah, so basically the NBA, and I don't know if this has happened before, but they are fining the Jazz for conduct detrimental to the league related to the team's games against the Orlando Magic on February 7th and Miami Heat on February 9th. During those games, the Jazz removed 2 of the team's top players, Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr., before the beginning of the fourth quarter and did not return them to the game, even though these players were otherwise able to continue to play. And the outcome of these games were thereafter in doubt. In addition, the Indiana Pacers have been fined $100,000 for violating the player participation policy in connection with the team's game against the Utah Jazz on February 3rd. Following an investigation, including review by an independent physician, the NBA determined that Pascal Siakam, a star player under the policy, and 2 other Pacers starters, neither of whom participated in the game, could have played under the medical standard in the policy, including by playing reduced minutes. Alternatively, the team could have held the players out of other games in a way that would have better promoted compliance with the policies. Here's the quote real quick, Whitey.
Yeah.
Overt behavior like this that prioritizes draft position over winning undermines the foundation of NBA competition, and we will respond accordingly to any further actions that compromise the integrity of our games.
Wow.
Commissioner NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Additionally, we are working with our competition committee and board of governors to implement further measures to root out this type of conduct. This is a very, very slippery slope. That's how I feel about it initially reading it.
Yesterday we talked to Dan Favale about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said if you're the Kings and you're risking a fine, you pay the fine.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And that's an approach the Jazz took last year.
Exactly.
They were fined last year for, I think it was for not playing Lauri Markkanen. I think they violated the player participation policy. This is interesting because it doesn't. I don't believe they may be violating the spirit of the rule, but I don't think they violated the letter of the player participation policy, and the commissioner's coming down on them anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is something that you can dispute, and I don't think the Jazz would do it. It's so funny, Whitey, because I honestly wonder if the Jazz didn't already have a reputation, as we saw reputations matter in the NBA. Beef Stew getting 7 games. I know he came off the bench, but 7 games suspension for that fight that went down. But if social media didn't exist, I don't know that the Jazz get fined at all. I mean, I think this was literally because people said the Jazz did this last season. They're doing this, you know what, again. And Adam Silver said, well, we have to do something. Because, again, I just think it's a slippery slope to start telling teams how much somebody has to play. So then what's the next step if you're the Jazz? I'm going to tell you what it is. The next game, fine, they'll play 1 minute into the 4th. Then you're going to fine them again. I don't know how you control this.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you read it, there's actually the teams, the Jazz and the Pacers, were fined for 2 different things.
Yes, the Pacers didn't play their guys.
Yeah.
The Jazz pulled their guys out.
The Pacers, it was the player participation policy. So there are rules that are clearly stated. So they investigated. They had an independent physician determine that Pascal Siakam, who is a star player under the policy, he could have played. So they're held out for medical reasons. An independent physician says, no, he could have played. So the league says, you have violated the player participation policy. In the case of the Jazz, they didn't violate a rule. But the league said, yeah, that's still conduct detrimental, $500,000. To your point, we didn't violate a rule. Yeah, but it's still wrong.
They got fined more than the Pacers.
Yes, that's what's so fascinating about this, as clearly the league is trying to send a warning shot across the bow of all the other teams that are tanking.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of Kings fans say, the Kings, for the first time in their history, are tanking, and now the NBA is cracking down on it.
Right. I think to be fair, though, I know you said DeMar DeRozan, that's a tough one because he was an all-star.
He is a star, player.
Yes, he is a star.
He and Domas are the 2 stars on the team.
I wonder, I think things will come to light about Domantas Sabonis and his knee if they do decide to investigate. Because the other thing is, Whitey, that was a 1-game situation for the Pacers. So my question is the league going to investigate this game that just happened last night with the Kings and them not playing anybody? Because if they're doing one-off games, could they investigate the Kings? I think the number one person that's going to get investigated, because I don't know if they're only investigating stars, but Zach LaVine and this finger thing. I mean, that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of these other guys, it's really just those 2 guys because Russ and DeMar have been playing, and I really don't think you can get on the Kings for not playing a minimum salary guy in Russ in the 4th quarter. And DeMar, he's making $24 million. DeMar might be a different story, but yeah, I think it's going to definitely come down to what's actually going on with Zach LaVine's finger, what's actually going on with Domantas Sabonis. But if they're doing one-offs, I don't see why they wouldn't investigate the Kings for last night.
I'm with you. Yeah, I just think it's a dead end. I think it's, like you said earlier, it's a no-win situation. The league can continue to do this. It just makes everybody look more ridiculous.
Yes.
They have to get in there and look at the system and figure out how to remove the motivation for losing games. And short of that, you're always going to have teams tanking.
Yeah.
If you can benefit from tanking, they're going to do it. And you can find them in this, and then you end up making everybody look bad. So a story to keep an eye on. And, yeah, I'm with you, Alan. I would think the NBA certainly is discussing, well, what about Sacramento? What have they done? Maybe we need to look at that. So keep an eye on that. Real quick, this could be the worst general manager ever. Chris Getz is the general manager of the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox traded Luis Robert for Luis Acuna. And 4 times since the trade, Chris Getz, GM of the White Sox, has talked about Acuna. There's a new player as a switch hitter. He is not a switch hitter. 4 times.
Yeah.
Oh, he got Acuna. He's a switch hitter. He is. White Sox fans have realized, no, he's not a switch hitter.
That's ridiculous.
That's bad.
That is pretty bad. And what I've heard, because what they got him from the Mets, right?
Yeah.
What I've heard is, I was talking about if Cam Boozer's name wasn't Boozer, if his last name wasn't Acuna, they might not be looking at him like that.
We've got some Westwood One sports coming up, and we have UC Davis basketball coming up tonight, too. Right here. We're back with you tomorrow. Thanks for listening to The Drive, guys, on Sacktown Sports.
Live and local.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant,